crackers, firecrackers won't do. Goodness gracious, I'm no chump, I just get off the camel's hump. Animal crackers, I love you. I went for the animal hair, the birds and the beasts were there. The old baboon by the light of the moon was combing his auburn hair. And the monkey, he got drunk and sat on the elephant's trunk. The elephant sneezed and fell on his knees, and that was the end of the monk.
Tonight, live on the Loki and Giovanni Show, your main event, the Shitty Kiss album debate. In the red corner, the author of Start With a Dream, the drummer extraordinaire. He is Joey Licious, Joey Cassata in the blue corner, weighing in about, I don't want to debate how many pounds. the, one half of the podcast Champions of New England, the co-host of C&J Speedway, and this fine podcast we're hosting tonight. He is the Redneck Adonis, the one, the only Jabroni. For the few in attendance and the millions watching out here, and for all our audio-only friends, let's get ready to lumble and listen.
Well, if it didn't take about 13 weeks for you to do an open, congratulations, Lynch.
It's only because I had a script.
It is, but you know what? You finally broke the cherry. You broke the ice. You have now broken the seal. You know how to do a cold open. Thank you very much for being here tonight, guys. Welcome to the Loki and Jabroni Show. Yes, we're on a Monday night because our guest needed to be here on a Monday night. He couldn't do Tuesday. Unfortunately, Loki can't be with us tonight, so let's start the introductions with the man to my right. He is the stitched Frankenstein from Montville, Connecticut. His name?
Strikers with Lynch.
I am the Redneck Adonis, and I am the melted ice cream Jones of the world. Weighing in, only because I weighed myself after quitting soda last week. We'll talk a little about that. Weighing in at 204 pounds.
I am very proud of you. Wow. I'm
of
proud
Twisted
of you,
Steel and no sex appeal.
None whatsoever.
Depending on who you ask. My name is Chris Burns, the Jabroni, and the man in the box.
Eddie,
he is.
focus.
You know, I didn't even get to do my gimmick. So, Ed, you know what? We'll save it for next week. I had some new stuff for you, but you kind of...
Oh, come on.
No. Next week. You done did it. It's your punishment. It's the way it is. So, guys, how are we doing tonight?
I'm doing well.
Good. In
Doing
about
well.
1 hour, we're going to have Joey Cassata on the line. This is something that Joey and I have been batting back and forth for about a month. There was a post from my favorite non-Loki and Jabroni podcast, non-Focus Network podcast, Three Sides of the Coin. We've had Tommy Summers on the show.
Yes.
And there was something where he mentioned how much he thought The Elder was the best Shitty Kiss album. And I said, no, Carnival of Souls is the best Shitty Kiss album. We texted back and forth, and his words, not mine, was, this could be an episode. So, damn it, here we are.
And that's why we're here tonight to do. And I'm impartial to the whole thing.
Yep.
As Chris knows, I like Kiss, but I'm not as diehard of fan as Chris is.
Of course. Well, there's two kind of people in the world. There are people who like Kiss and can tolerate Kiss, and then those that are wrong.
Well, I will say there's three.
Thank you.
There's three type of Kiss fans. You,
Yep.
me, my wife. She likes Hard Luck Woman, and that's the only song she'll listen to.
I do like that song, though.
It's a great song, and the Garth Brooks version,
Amazing.
Honestly, I think it's amazing.
Fucking amazing.
Amazing version of the song. And you can't fault her for liking it, because it's at its core, it's a country song.
Yeah, I'll buy it.
Yeah, even by Kiss, it's a country song. It's 3 chords, 4 chords, and just a good vibe, and it just tells a quick story, in and out, 3 minutes 30 seconds.
It's a great Kiss song. It's a bad Rod Stewart song.
Oh well, yeah. Well,
come on,
you can't compare Kiss to Rod Stewart. I'm sorry, Chris.
That was the goal.
I know.
Yeah, you've read the books.
You have Maggie May.
You've read the book. What are you laughing at over there? Nope, stop. You can't. No,
this guy over here in the little box.
That's not how it works. What are you laughing at, sir?
I just put you in timeout.
Why? Fuck did I do?
The Earth is flat.
You timed me out
the
on
Earth
300 seconds.
I said the Earth is not flat.
The Earth.
Do you know how to read?
I know, but that's offensive to people who think that the Earth is flat.
Don't get okay. See now, what's on our mind?
And we talked about this before the cold open.
Let's get me fucking started real quick.
Go ahead, Chris.
Guys.
All opinions are equal.
You know why I didn't share all
they're
this?
like assholes. Everybody has one.
You know why I didn't share all this? Because I got a 3-day Facebook ban for telling a flat Earth idiot that he looked like Biz Marquee. I didn't tell him he was retarded. I didn't tell him he's ignorant. I didn't do any of that.
And I would understand if you used hate speech or you used hateful terms or if you
I made a meme of this guy that said, "You got what I need, but you say she's just a friend."
And I don't get that because Facebook has become so touchy-feely and
flat earthers are touchy-feely.
Well, no, Facebook in general has become so
I'll buy it.
In the corner of, you can't use that type of speech on me.
Look,
you know what? Life is full of opinions, and life is full of people who have opposing opinions.
Right, but
If you like it, there's a block button.
Right. Last weekend.
Exactly. Block the motherfucker that offends you and just forget about it.
Last weekend, I'm watching.
Why make it a big deal?
Last weekend, I'm watching WWE Stomping Grounds. I am a part of, I think, 3 or 4 different professional wrestling Facebook groups. And Mike brought it up last week on the show. We got tired real early, real quick of hearing Becky Lynch, the girlfriend of Seth Rollins, and then when Seth Rollins is out there, Seth Rollins, the boy, who gives a shit? Stop.
Does it really matter who's associated with who?
It doesn't.
It doesn't. But they make.
I'm dogging the WWE announce crew. And some people are agreeing, some people are not. Well, why should it matter to you if they're saying it? Because that's not what I'm watching for. This is not Us Magazine. It's not Days of Our Lives. I'm watching for the athletic entertainment that I'm not getting because I have to listen to you spout off about how these two are fucking behind the scenes. Not my cup of tea. But I told people on that site, dude, you're an idiot, you're retarded, you're this, you're that. You know what I got? Nothing. I make a meme of this idiot from Georgia who's just, look, I can show you guys a picture once I get off the ban of this guy on the Logan Jabroni Show Facebook page, and you'll see he looks just like Biz Marquee.
I saw it tonight before we started, and I have to agree with them. But
most people like to be compared to a famous celebrity.
But the whole...
Somebody told me when I was younger, you look like Billy Crystal. I was like, thank you. He's famous. No, but that was when I was like 18. Now that I'm 46, I don't look like Billy Crystal.
Yeah, you don't have the curly hair.
No. And you're...
Don't get me started because the flat earthers will come out with the anti-Jew shit.
He's very Anglo.
What do they call it? Goish?
Yeah, Goish.
Yeah,
Goish.
I'll take Goish.
But
why not?
I mean, it all goes back to, it doesn't really fucking matter who you're associated with or what. The association between... All right, so I could be friends with Hitler.
Mm-hmm.
Or...
That's a really bad comparison.
No, listen.
I'm going to go with you.
Let me hear you out. Hmm? I could be friends with Mussolini. I could understand their viewpoint. Do I agree with it? No. But just because I'm associated with them does not automatically put me in that box that I'm with their viewpoint. And Chris and I, we've talked about this with religion over and over again in our personal lives, on the show.
Yeah.
He and I have this debate all the time. And just because I don't agree with certain viewpoints he has about religion...
He's laughing again. This is pissing me off. I want to know.
We don't get pissed off at each other about
because you're on a timeout for 300 seconds, but I still made you a moderator.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Come on.
Dude, I fucking love you, man. But I'm on my personal page on YouTube right now, so I can't see who else is on. So whoever's watching, thank you. Our guest judge will be joining at about 8:30, if not sooner, when he comes on. First of all, don't tell Joey Cassata he's coming. That's the rules. This is a special surprise. He thinks Eddie, Lynch, and fan vote. He doesn't know there's a fourth head coming in. And for you guys, once he joins, big surprise. And he's awesome. Hopefully he'll message me and tell me he's watching. I'm going to send him a message again. But not only the 3-day ban, but you know what else is on my mind? And Lynch, you'll be able to back me up on this. You watched the Stanley Cup Finals.
I did.
You watched how hard many of these guys worked on the Boston Bruins. I'm not going to ask you to comment on Connor Clifton getting a $3 million extension on his contract. That's a great move. But Noel Acciari, just signed a free agent deal
Yep.
with the Florida Panthers for $5 million. This guy was, no pun intended, a linchpin in that offense
Yep.
in the Stanley Cup Finals, and now Boston is okay with letting him go to an in-conference competitor. What do you think?
Horseshit. If we had a horseshit button, I'd use it right now.
Thank you. We
No,
got
we
got
hit the
applause.
applause button. That's fine. Yeah, applause. But why would you let a guy like that, who is so talented, go and break that contract to go to an inter-conference competitor?
You don't. You really
you
shouldn't.
don't. And to me, it reeks of horse shit. It smells of horse shit, and it's just, I don't get it. It's like letting Big Papi go to the fucking New York Yankees. You know what I mean? If
That would have been something. That would have been something.
Had that happened, what the fuck would Red Sox fans have done back in the day when he was at his peak? I just don't get it. I mean, well, look what happened with Mickey Mantle.
Look what happened with Johnny Damon.
Exactly.
When Damon, the Red Sox couldn't come to terms, the Yankees saw someone they could draw something out of. The Yankees signed Johnny Damon. He goes on to win with them in 2009.
The Yankees looked at Johnny Damon and saw a pearl that need polishing.
Yes.
And
He got a haircut and got a real job. And that's what I said then, and I got shit on for it.
No, and I agreed with you. You and I had that discussion back in the day, and I agreed with you. They looked at him and said, "Cut your fucking hair, shave your beard, look like a professional athlete, and stand up to my standards, and I will back you 100 fucking 10%."
And they did, and he was there
And
for
they
5
did.
years, and he did wonderful.
I feel the same way about this whole situation. Is that they see a diamond in a rough or a pearl that
On
needs
a
to be
Chari?
shined.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
But why
And-
didn't the Bruins see it? And that's my problem. Is
Boston kind of has blinders on when it comes to their.
Well, it goes back to not getting rid of, but losing Tyler Sagan a couple years ago. It goes back to losing Milan Lucic. These were once again, no offense and no pun intended, linchpins in that offense and or defense.
Well,
losing Lucic killed me.
it doesn't even
losing Sagan killed me.
Doesn't confine itself to hockey. It's happened before in baseball. It's happened before in basketball.
It's happened in football.
Happened in football with the Patriots. They look at players and they see the value they can get out of them in the years of the contract. So what happened with what's his name? Not Tim Tebow.
I can tell you what happened with Tim Tebow.
Well, no. Gronk.
Gronkowski?
Yeah. So he actually had a few more years ahead of him.
Mm-hmm. I can tell you what happened with him.
Retiring now was a smart move on his part.
Sure, because
Had he
concussions were adding up because
Had he
saw
entertained other deals from other franchises and been promised the blanket of, if you get hurt, we're going to take care of you. We're not going to push you. We're not going to let you get to the point where you're just be a fucking cripple. I think he would have stayed in professional football.
I don't know, at his age,
That's
to make the money he made,
Just my opinion.
to get out when he got out, knowing, and you've seen some of the commercials he's made for Tide Pods and whatnot, he's an entertaining guy. He is the second coming of Peyton Manning in that. I'm watching the race yesterday. We talked about the race before we went hot, and if you want to hear the rest of my thoughts on it, listen tomorrow night to C&J Speedway Review. We'll get to that toward the end of the show. But during the race, you see the Peyton Manning Brad Paisley commercial where they're on the bus and they're writing the song.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning, as much as I disliked him, I love him as a football player. He's hard-nosed, but I disliked him because he always played hard against the team that I liked.
Right. But
so he's entertaining as hell, and so is Gronk. And if you can get out with all of your squash still intact,
it's the whole
dude, get out.
It's the whole George Costanza thing in Seinfeld. Go out on a high note, leave on a high note.
Sure,
and I get it, but he has a few more years left in him.
Mm-hmm.
People say he's the player tight end of glass. He's made of glass. He's Mr. Glass. I get it, But
No, that was Jeremy Shockey. If you don't, if you
Well,
really want to get technical,
if you want to go if you want to go deep, but he plays with such passion. He gets hurt because he gives a shit, and I can guarantee you, somebody else in his division in the NFL would have scooped him up in a heartbeat. But because he played so hard and so just with such heart with the Patriots, that he's like, yeah, you know what? I'm not getting any other deals. I'm just gonna fucking hang it up.
you think that was the case with Gronk? But we're going to go back to Nola Chari, who I thought was, again, a fantastic piece of that puzzle on that Bruins team that went all the way to the finals, lost in Game 7. They were the first loser, technically. Technically, the first loser is last place.
Yeah.
They were the penultimate, whatever. I don't care. They're the almost champions, if you will. Participation Trophy Jones.
Yeah. Well, here's your, thanks for showing up.
Right? Here you
Trophy.
go.
Yeah.
You were right there.
I can agree with that to a certain extent. I want to say I don't want to like kind of pin New England teams in a general manner, but do you not find that a common thing with teams in New England?
Well, because I live here,
Boston Bruins,
yeah,
Boston Celtics, New England Patriots, the New York Yankees.
They hold on to the one, whether it's Derek Jeter, David Ortiz,
Tom Brady,
Zdeno Chara.
You got you can
The
go.
Celtics, give or take here or there, they had their long-standing guys that were there forever. They lose out. I go back to 1984. The Red Sox had probably the best closer in the business in John Tudor. The Red Sox did not see a value in John Tudor. Where does he go? He goes to St. Louis and kills it. Wins them a championship in '85.
Well, that's just it. They fixate on a player or a group of players or a team, and they put blinders on, and they put all their bananas in one basket.
Sure.
And then once that guy becomes less valuable to them,
Sure.
Oh, fuck. Thank you, fuck you, bye. Go to another next team. And had they actually paid attention to this guy when he was producing, when he was a valuable player to the franchise, no matter what it's basketball, football, hockey, fucking ping pong, whatever it has to be in New England. New England chews through their players, and they hold on to the icons to a point where I hope Tom Brady retires next year. Not because I don't like the guy.
He's 42 years old.
I want him to retire on a fucking high note, and I want him to retire on on the back of a career where he can be proud of, and not look back and go, "Oh fuck, I wish I could have done better."
It sucks watching these guys deteriorate.
Right, and
like, you remember, because nobody will remember that high point.
They'll only remember the low points.
Oh yeah.
They'll only remember the bad points. Bill Buckner, perfect case in point.
Oh my God,
one of the best,
call.
One of the best baseball players in my lifetime is only remembered because he
bobbled the ball. The same with Ernest Biner for the Cleveland Browns
Yeah.
when they were competitive with that fumble that turned into a Broncos comeback.
I mean, it's just amazing. I listened to an interview with Joe Namath on Stern last week.
I don't know what's worse. I know you're still a big Stern fan, and I read a great article in Rolling Stone a couple weeks ago about Stern, softer side with the kittens and all that bullshit. But the fact that you listen to an interview with Joe Namath, who is he blows more smoke up his own ass than anyone else has ever blown up his ass in history. But go ahead.
But all that aside, the reason I appreciate what Howard Stern does now versus what he did in the 80s and 90s into the 2000s is that he's evolved into an interviewer that actually asks poignant questions and puts people on the spot. He's not just talking about, oh, I heard you fuck so-and-so. What was it like? It's now
kind of like Loki and Jabroni last week with Barry Horowitz.
Now he's like,
exactly.
I heard you fuck so-and-so. Why?
Right. Exactly.
Good call.
Lead me to how you got to that point. It's more evolved. It's more of like he has an emotional investment into what the person he on the other side of the microphone across the room from him,
Mm-hmm.
then
Instead of just making tomfoolery.
well, instead of making a joke out of it, he takes it serious. Now, Joe Namath came off smelling like a fucking rose in that interview. I'm not gonna lie. I agree with you that he has blown smoke up his own ass for 50 years, but he came off more personal and more real than I've heard of any other interview in the last 35 years. From that, based upon that interview
Okay.
last week, Howard put him on the spot a few times.
Okay.
He asked him and like put him in on the spot, saying, "Oh, so I heard you. I'm making a scenario up, but I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I heard you had a three-way with so and so and so
Oh,
and so."
Jesus.
And he would just laugh, and you could see if you go onto the Sirius XM site and look at the video interview,
Mm-hmm.
you can see Joe Namath kind of like get uncomfortable, but then become real after that.
Well, that's a
uncomfortable
plus,
moment.
and that's kind of the stuff that I like.
And
But
that's where I appreciate where Howard Stern has evolved from the 80s till now.
okay.
And that's how we are with our podcast. We talk about the uncomfortable moments in our life, the uncomfortable situations,
Mhm.
the uncomfortable conversations
Okay.
that you have to have with your spouse, girlfriend, children, friends.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yep.
Does that not sound
No, it makes a lot of
accurate?
sense. And real quick,
me?
guys, once again, Joey is not watching right now, but
He is not.
our special guest judge is watching right now. He just sent me a message saying, "I'm watching, I'm loving it." Ladies and gentlemen, the man who invented the Kiss Army, Bill Starkey, is our celebrity secret judge.
Fucking tastic.
You like that? You've heard
I
the
do
Bill
like
Starkey episodes.
I
He-
have
he
several
bring
times.
Starkey equals ratings on the
That's-
Loki and Jabroni show.
That's one of my throwback episodes.
That's Eddie's line. Starkey equals ratings. Whenever we bring Bill on, our numbers go through the god dang roof. So,
Gosh darn.
right. Just going back, I want to settle the Achari point. The Bruins losing Achari really bad. He's a young guy. He's a guy that they could have, like Torrey Krug, like Connor Clifton, like a bunch of guys. Losing Tyler Sagan at his young age, I love Tyler Sagan, but seeing him go to Dallas hurt. Seeing Milan Lucic go, that hurt. But it's a lot like, being a Yankees fan, and you see they bring in the free agent guys who are only there 1 or 2 years. Seeing Jerry, what's his name? Jerry Hairston Jr. come out for Old Timers Day the other day, and he works for the Dodgers, and the Dodgers gave him the day off.
Yep.
The day off. He's one of their strength and conditioning coaches and hitting coaches. There he is at Old Timers Day at Yankee Stadium, number 17. I'm just like, wow, it's Jerry fucking Hairston from the 2009 championship team. Johnny Damon was there. It warmed my heart. But you won't see, and I dare say this, and I'm gonna leave it open to you, the listener, to respond. I dare say you won't see Johnny Damon at an Old Timers Day in Boston simply because he went to New York to play after you let him slip away. Lynch, what do you have on your mind this week?
So just real quick,
Yep. We
We
got
talked-
plenty of time.
we
We
talked
got
about this just
33 minutes until Joey joins.
we talked about this just before air. How I got caught in traffic
Mhm.
on the way here. So I'm gonna pose. This is not necessarily a poll,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm gonna pose a question to our listeners. You're on the highway. Doesn't matter whether it's 95, 395, 91, the I-5 in California, or whatever the fuck the highways are in Europe. If you see a sign that says quarter mile, merge right, what do you do, Chris?
I merge right before the quarter mile.
Okay.
I know what's coming.
So here I am, driving here to get to the Focus Studios, and I see a sign that says right lane closed, 1/4 mile ahead
Right.
on 395 northbound.
Oh, that's why I took 169 to get here.
And I almost did, and I should have, but motherfuck me, I'm in the right hand lane.
Kiss your family with that mouth.
I do.
Okay,
Everybody.
good, good,
and you.
good.
Once in
Yeah,
a while.
well, every now and again.
Here I am, driving up through 95. I'm on pace to make a really good time. And I just see the sea of cars in the left-hand lane just kind of coming to an abrupt halt. And here I am in the right lane, like I'm supposed to be, a quarter mile away.
Mm-hmm.
And people are just like, and it becomes it's like a game of Frogger at that point. Why would you not? Traffic wouldn't happen like that in a situation if you just fucking read the sign and moved over when you should have. As soon as you see the sign, take the opportunity to move over. Excuse me, there would still be traffic, but you know what? It wouldn't be as bad.
Okay, 3 days a week I drive a truck, and I do deliveries for my job, and I love it.
And
being
I know
on the road,
and
and
I know you see this day in and day out, especially with where you work
now,
in Hartford.
if you're going through Hartford pisses me off because people drive like Boston, much like New York,
it's a full-time job.
Indianapolis, going through the Beltway in D.C., all these places that I've driven through, and I'm
going through the Jersey Turnpike.
I'm so not looking forward as much as I'm looking forward to my vacation in 3 weeks to Weirs Beach, New Hampshire. Sorry, not North Carolina. I got North Carolina on the brain. Oh, look. WRS. Don't say it out loud. It's Bill Starkey. Shut up, Bill. He's the secret judge. Don't tell Joey Cassata. Okay, anyway. Thank you, Bill. Thank you for watching. We are glad you are here. Going up to Weirs Beach, you have to go up 93 through Massachusetts. Now, 93 takes you through Peabody, Massachusetts, Salem, etc., so forth. Salem and Peabody are the home of my favorite liquor store of all time, Bunghole Liquors. Go to bungholeliquors.com, buy yourself a T-shirt.
And I have a picture
Love that place. I used to have a T-shirt, you remember.
And I have the picture of you standing in front of Bunghole Liquors.
Yes. And
Still.
But you go through that stretch of 93, and it's like a monkey fucking a football. You just cannot drive. Now, with
it's like three monkeys fucking a football.
I lived in Indiana for a year. When you go into city center in Indianapolis, it's like Demolition Derby Jones. People just forget how to fucking drive, and you have the same thing you're talking about with the merging of the traffic. You have a half mile, you have a quarter mile, you have 700 feet, but then you have the asshole who comes 70 miles an hour hot while everybody else is doing 30.
The problem I have is a motorcyclist, and I ride motorcycles. Mm-hmm. Is the fucking motorcyclist doing 85 up the left lane, almost on the grass?
Yeah, with no respect,
and just doesn't give a fuck.
Do you know what I say every time I see that?
All
whether
I
my
want to
kids
do is
are in the
just
car or
open my
not.
fucking door and let them run into my.
I say the same thing every time. Every time I see an asshole, whether he's on a Harley or a crotch rocket, I say, "There's a guy who deserves to be a greasy spot on a country road."
Because they just have no respect for. No courtesy is really what it is. I mean, I get you. Everybody's in a rush to get to where they want to be. I was in a rush to get here tonight because I had a busy day. I got home, took care of what I had to take care of, wanted to be here in a respectful time. I didn't want to be late. However, because of the uncommon courtesy of other people,
right?
I was almost late, and it's just like.
No, you weren't late. Joey Cassata's late, and that's
just
but he's a rock star. He can do that.
Just put yourself in the position of. All right, so let's apply the situation. You're on the way to work.
Mm-hmm. I don't have that problem.
You don't know
road Jones to my job.
Well, you don't know it's going to happen. It's
sure.
It's not a planned thing. It's not a common thing.
Try leaving your house to you folks anywhere other than Norwich, Connecticut won't understand this. When the public utilities, NPU, is in your yard and you're trying to leave and you live on a dirt road.
And you can't leave.
And they're blocking. I have to go up on a berm, and I have a little VW Jetta.
Yeah, you just got to climb out of this freaking property.
I'm lucky I didn't roll over and die. But I got out because they're unwilling. They're doing work on the lines. I get it.
But let's just say you're on your way to work.
Mm-hmm.
You work at 7 a.m. You leave your house at 6:15. Normally takes you half an hour. You're getting to work at 6:45.
Right.
You run into traffic. You don't know about the traffic.
Of course not.
You get bound up for that 15 minutes. So one of two things is going to happen. Work is either going to be, oh, I get it. I understand. I'm sorry. Or work's going to be like, thank you, fuck you, no. You're getting your half a point or half a biscuit or whatever they want to call it, or you're going to get written up for being late.
They're not watching Hooker Face Nicole Nalepa on Channel 3 or Alyssa Tagley on Channel 8.
Well, that's the problem is because if you happen to have your Facebook gimmick in your phone, and there happens to be a cop there, they're going to fucking tag you on it.
That's why you
got
to get a
pull
Steely.
you over.
You got to get a Steely and put it in your vent and have it right there.
You got to get Waze.
Yeah. Oh, Waze is good.
But even so, if you get caught looking at a GPS or Waze or anything on your phone, they will fucking find you.
Waze talks to you.
I'm gonna answer. I'm gonna answer Bill's question.
True,
real quick.
I get that, but still, if you're
Cookie
caught
Monster's
looking
voice right now,
if you're caught looking at your cellular device on the roadway,
they'll screw you over. I'm gonna answer Bill's question real quick. Guys, if you don't know who Bill Starkey is, look it up. He is the guy who originated the Kiss fucking Army, which is why we're here tonight, the Shitty Kiss album debate,
just
starting at 8:30.
History Science Theater 3000.
Oh, what
only
a
video you
great
need to watch.
episode. Yes, Bill Starkey equals ratings. Yes, Bill.
Never a claim on it.
September 96, I moved to Indiana, and I think it was March 98 I moved away. So I lived in the great city of Lafayette, which is great. Jefferson High School Broncos. I got to give them love. Got to give love to Chad Hatfield, Amanda Proctor, her husband. Christ, I can't remember his name now. Josh.
It's not Christ.
They were high school sweethearts, and they're married. They've been married now 194 years. They have about 800 kids, but they're doing great. They live in New York now, but. Wow, Lafayette was one of my favorite places. La Bamba burritos like nobody's business. Burritos as big as your head. Moving forward, Eddie, what do you got on your mind?
Well, not a whole lot, but I just saw this video today, actually, and I shared it on my Facebook, and I just liked it, so I'm going to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, the University of Kansas, Kansas
the Jayhawks.
Yep. Were, I think, doing training or something,
Mm-hmm.
and a World War II veteran who also used to play for Kansas back in the day was there, and they gave him the football and let him run a touchdown, and they were
I saw that video.
They're all doing fake guarding and stuff like that, and I don't know, just the look on this guy's face can only be described as childlike.
Oh my God, how
he
cool
was so
that?
happy to run the field. The guy's like over 80.
I know.
It's awesome.
Running across the field,
How
holding
cool
the
was
ball.
that?
And he's all smiling. He's licking his lips like a little kid, and it's like, wow. Good on Kansas. I don't care what you think of their football team right now. That's good on them.
No, that's awesome.
No, I agree.
That was really
that's
nice
awesome.
of them.
It's
And
like when I don't know how many years ago it was, they let the kid with Down syndrome who loves football, he goes out and he practices with the team. He's like the team equipment manager or whatever. They suit him up. They talk to the other team. They basically give the first touchdown to Team A, which technically doesn't count on the official record. But this kid, he gets handed the ball. He runs a touchdown. He's getting blockers. They're touching people. The guy's falling over. It's one of those feel-good stories that you really need to have.
You know what? Honestly, I woke up in a good mood today. I don't know why.
Well,
I was tired, and I just woke up in a good mood, and that just added to
That's
it.
strange.
Well, and most times you watch the news, it's not good news. It's depressing. It's bullshit. It's the same old pablum that you hear every day. And to see a story like that,
Yeah, it's not even on the news. It's just they had to share it on their page, and then
but still,
nobody talked about it.
I consider that's a news story,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
you read that and it makes you feel good about yourself, and it elevates your mood.
Sure.
If you wake up in a good mood, like Eddie did,
And he's
it's
wearing,
gonna make you feel better about the rest of your day.
We can share it on the Loki and Jabroni
Please
page.
do.
He's
Awesome.
wearing. I think he's wearing his original jersey number.
Oh,
from back in the
wow.
day.
So on that note, I'm going to use the
fantastic.
executive washroom.
You go ahead, because I'll be next. Since we got some time before Joey Cassata shows up and his Lynch. By the way, pay no attention if you are YouTubing us right now to the Twitter page. This was Last Minute Jones having Lynch come here, so you see Mike's information underneath. This is not Michael Smith. This is Chris Lynch. He does not have a Twitter. If he does, he doesn't know how to access it. He's old school Jones.
Shit. You know what?
What? You just noticed that.
Yeah.
All right.
I wasn't expecting him.
That's okay. I wasn't either until today.
Yeah.
But much like we weren't expecting the change of time. So, what do I want to talk about?
There, I
before
got Lynch's is up.
There you go.
I still have Lynch's.
Okay.
He is
so,
not a Vikings fan, though.
Before we go on, Eddie, we know that Thursday is Independence Day,
Yes.
the birthday of America. We also know this is where you and I come in, and when he comes back, we have to grill him one more time because we want our guest, Stranger Things 3 drops on Thursday. I could not be more excited. I've watched the bumper. I am so excited for Stranger Things 3.
I need something because let me just say, Confession Tapes Season 2.
Well, did you watch Exhibit A?
I did.
And it was, 3-4 episodes, and then you're done. And you're like, I want more.
Yeah.
There's the blood splatter. There's the DNA. There's the cadaver dogs. And I know you're into this shit like I am.
I feel like that show could be like a regular thing because
Sure.
there's got to be millions of
Oh, my
stories
God,
like
so
that.
many. Henry Lee from our
That
former great
dog
state of
one.
Connecticut.
Can we talk about that dog one for
Feel
a second?
free.
That dog
Ask-
story.
Ask away because I really want to know what you think because I
That
have
dog
issues.
story pissed me off.
Thank you.
Okay, you can't convict someone based solely on a dog.
No body, no evidence,
No.
anything, but that man went to jail for the murder of his daughter.
Right.
Which, guys, if you don't know what we're talking about, go to Netflix. It's Exhibit A. Look it up. Just what in the ever-loving hell?
Now, I've seen videos.
All right,
I've
fair
seen videos where someone's
Lynch
recording
went into
the
the
police.
gimmick box.
I've seen videos where someone's recording the police,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like doing little text narrations as they go, and he brings like, they bring in the dogs, and he actually puts like, watch, the cop will tap on my window and the dog will jump at it. You see the cop quickly tap at the window, the dog jumps at it. Found some.
Well, you also saw in the in the part of that was the dog training where the lady who was training the dog, 3 out of 4 tests he failed. The
Right.
dog failed. So,
And he's a cadaver dog.
yeah. Well, you went over here and there was nothing there except like some piss and vinegar and whatever. And you went over here and there was nothing there but like a shoelace.
Stuff that be in a baby's bed.
Right. But you saw when they planted the stuff that the dog was supposed to find. Here's a suet cage with blood and urine and semen and all that bullshit.
Honestly, and I'm just gonna straight out say it, I agree with her theory on the whole thing, where she's like, they can't come after me, I'm a vet. They can't come after me, I own a home.
Mm-hmm. But my husband has a checkered past.
Right.
Right.
Right. So
And-
he's like, no one's gonna care about this
And
guy.
in Detroit, we've talked about Detroit before, much like
Which is a
if
mess.
you go back to, if I don't know if it's still in the archive, episode 6 when Loki and I talked about Baltimore. This is before Eddie was full-time Jones on the show. There's problems within those police departments where as long as they think they have something, they have something. And you heard some of those people when I think it was one of the cops, her name was Nina, goes to homicide and says, this is bullshit. I've seen this kid. No. This case is closed. We're letting it go.
Yeah.
We're just letting it go. That's the kind of thing that pisses me off.
Well, George Carlin said it best, that it's their job to commit perjury.
Mm.
Well,
Look,
and with the recent rash of dash cam videos that surfaced.
Oh, that I wanted to bring up too. I don't know if you saw that recent one with Connecticut troopers.
Yes,
I did actually.
We'll
I
just
watched
tell
that the
them that
other
we
night.
got a call on this gimmick schnabbits.
Yeah, and totally, those cops got exonerated, by the way. I don't
Bill
know if you know
Starkey rocks.
that. Yeah,
And they-
a year later,
Exonerated based on manufactured evidence.
no evidence.
Manufactured though.
You gotta
They
understand,
tried to manufacture.
The charges they picked are charges you can't prove.
Exactly, because they're
Yeah.
trying to structure and manufacture evidence that doesn't
Well,
exist.
he said it in the video. I got to do something because I touched him.
Why'd you fucking touch them?
Right.
And that's why I brought up the sovereign citizen thing earlier before air. I get where those guys are coming from. I understand. I understand where they're coming, what they're quoting and what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
But whatever they're quoting or pulling out of from whatever law, every state has their own set of laws
Mm-hmm.
for operating a motor vehicle. Well, I'm traveling, not driving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can travel. You can travel on a horse, travel on a motorcycle, travel on a dog,
Mhm.
travel anywhere you want on a donkey. Driving has its own set of rules.
Yeah, but their argument is that they're claiming property that they didn't purchase or acquire.
Well, their argument is that they're 99.9% of the sovereign citizens videos I've watched in the last 2 weeks is that, well, I'm not moving commerce. I'm a person, and I'm moving myself.
Right.
Honestly, that is an actual law.
Yeah.
But when it comes to a person driving, if you say I'm traveling, not driving, how are you traveling? Oh, I'm driving. Driving is a different subset of rules based upon state to state jurisdiction. If the state of Connecticut says you have to have a valid license, registration, proof of insurance, those 3 criteria. If you don't meet those 3 criteria, you're breaking the law in the state of Connecticut. But unfortunately, every state in the contiguous states of the United States require you to have proof of insurance, proof of registration, and a driver's license valid. The other stuff like emissions or, if I'm towing a trailer I just bought, it's inconsequential. Honestly, you're not breaking a law, but you're not following the rule.
Well, the major argument with sovereign citizens, and they're not wrong, you can do the history on this, is the Articles of Confederation have never been repealed.
No, and
in effect, actually, to this day, there are some lawyers that evoke the Articles of Confederation and win cases.
And they make a career out of it.
Right.
And I get that. I understand, because they're exploiting a flaw in our.
It's not a flaw.
Well, not a flaw. They're exploiting
tyranny.
They're bringing to forefront an exploit in the Articles of Confederation where they didn't change it to make it a law. According to the Articles of Confederation, it's different than saying they're breaking the law, so to speak. And I get that. I understand that. So, but if you live in the state of Connecticut and you travel without a license, are you breaking the law? To me, yes, because the state of Connecticut requires you to have a valid driver's license.
See, I think licenses are just extortion.
I'm not going to disagree with you.
I may or may not buy that.
I think property tax is an extortion.
Yeah.
I paid tax for this vehicle when I bought it. Why the fuck am I paying annual taxes on it to a town that I live in based on a mill rate that is fucking shitty?
To pay for those roads that you probably bounced on getting up here.
And now they're going to try to put they're trying to put tolls. That's another thing I want to talk about. The toll. They want to put tolls on.
Well, we got about 14 usable minutes, so talk.
On every interstate and outer state highway.
It's going to get worse than that. You guys know what they've been trying to do, right?
Yeah.
Like, they've been trying to centralize the whole tax system in the state, where the state collects all of the money. And they'll distribute it
how they see fit.
Right, which means, like, this area here will crumble.
Yep.
Bridgeport will get money. New Haven will get money.
Hartford will get money.
Yep.
But the Norwiches, the Danielsons, the
Killingleys,
the red areas of this state.
Yeah.
I'll say it like that.
The
red
Montvilles.
area, which is this. This is a red area.
Yeah, absolutely.
They will crumble.
And it's all based upon political, leanings and why.
This is here's the thing. Like, if you go back in history, something like this started. It didn't start it, but was one of the things going into the revolution, where they started centralizing all the taxes, taking the monies out of the community and into the British pocket, and no representation, of course. And if Connecticut starts centralizing the entire tax system, I mean, taxes are theft anyway, but we have them.
Yeah.
If they're going to take all the money and basically what they're saying is the money belongs to us and we're going to decide who deserves it.
Right.
And if you think they're not going to base that on fucking exit polls, you're out of your mind.
Well, might as well squeeze your cheese until you're blue in the face.
Well, the problem is that the counties that actually deserve it have the weakest voices.
Right.
And when they go in front of the commissions and say, hey, Killingly needs this X amount of money to improve.
Killingly's got its own set of problems, and I don't want to do it on this show. That's a you know it's fucked up gimmick for next week.
No,
Yeah,
I understand.
We'll
I
talk
understand
about the
that.
Red Man thing later.
Oh my
I understand-
god!
I
Amy's
under-
pissed about that.
I-
You want to join us next week? By the way, next Tuesday
depends on the
night.
day.
Oh, well, bring your own gimmicks because you're not dipping into my fucking box anymore.
Well, hey, I'm trying to stay.
I know Mountain Dew Jones,
Yeah,
right
I'm
over
Jones.
here.
dipping my effing gimmick.
Right? He's been dipping in everybody's gimmicks tonight.
I'm
By the
trying-
way,
I'm
if
trying
you're
be
new to
good.
the show, a beer is a gimmick. Alcoholic beverage, that's a gimmick. Just so you know, when I say he's dipping into our gimmicks, he's taking our alcohol.
I've had one beer since I got here
And where'd you get it?
from you.
From the gimmick box.
I'm trying to be good.
I know. I understand.
Take a
And
sip of the bourbon mash. And
I got, we got. Oh yeah, we got some Crown Royal Bourbon Man. What are you fucking gay?
It's his O face.
Wait, now I'm gonna get blocked from Facebook for another 3 days for saying that shit. But hey, whatever.
I had 2 gimmicks at dinner.
I
and if
understand.
You happen to be at what's it called, Jennifer's, in Putnam, right across from Crossings.
Never heard of it.
Crossings? In Putnam?
Never
Yeah.
heard of any. Putnam is like a place I pass on the highway. I've never actually.
Lalamere used to work up at the bar there.
Yeah, I know, but I've never been there.
What the hell's it called? You should. You'd like it.
Jim Lollimer, you better be watching, motherfucker. We've mentioned you
crap.
now twice.
Not Monkey, but
No, I
Monkey.
was just there the other day.
GimmickSchnabitzfernum.com.
it's really good. But there's several restaurants there. 85 Main, Victoria Station. The place we ate at
I love
today was
Victoria Station.
amazing.
I got my degree there.
amazing.
That's where I did all my homework.
Okay,
I had a
fair enough.
cheeseburger, and we had poutine that was fucking top notch.
Christ, the
Top notch.
fucking poutine. You guys kill me.
I had 2 beers. That's why I'm
not like poutine.
being very.
Because I'm not Canadian.
The stomping ground.
Yes, Stomping Ground.
I've heard of
owned
it.
by
Never
Terry.
been there.
Yeah,
Owned by
where
Terry.
else can you go? Get a beer flight and listen to some folk singers that are literally like 5 feet from you.
They're
Oh
like
my
from me to your
God.
sink.
Who was I talking to? But as we're inching towards the debate, which is going to start in just a few minutes, when we get Joey Cassata on the line, somebody was telling me they were at a place with really bad folk singers as they were trying to drink. Mark Azarju, our friend, he of the Azarju Mini Mansion, football, racing, whatever kind of party you want to have.
Multi-screen
Mark, oh my
entertainment.
God, you need to
I've
come
seen-
this year.
I've seen the pictures.
Yes, you
I'm
need to.
still
Holy
waiting
shit.
for the porn party. That would be
That's not
great.
going to happen.
No,
Anya will
I'm-
kill it in a minute. But
don't
he's
look
like,
forward
I'm
to
at this
that.
bar and they're playing like really bad, shitty folk music. It's like a guy on a guitar. And I typed out, if I multiple eyes could have time in a bottle. He goes, he played that song 10 minutes
If
ago.
I could have time in a bottle.
But he's that one guy, like
Yeah.
with the acoustic. I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. Like whatever,
Call
dude.
the horse fucking lame.
Right? Just play the hits, dude. Stop playing America bullshit. All right, so according to my record, we have about 5 usable minutes before we call Joey, test him for sound, and
We
start
do.
the
1, 2,
shitty
1,
Kiss
2.
album debate. Now, Eddie, I want to take this right here underneath your phone. I'm going to just grab this. Eddie, since last week, amongst his better judgment, which I apologize to him, he listened to The Elder and Carnival.
I listened to
He
three.
also listened to Unmasked because Mike was going to argue
Mike
for
threw it in,
Unmasked.
yeah.
But because it's Monday, Mike has a previous engagement. This is why Lynch is here. Eddie listened to all 3 of the shittiest Kiss albums that there are.
So basically, one is a freebie.
Yeah.
I took that one up the ass
So
for you guys.
there, see, so Eddie made an educated decision. He's texting me throughout the week. I fucking hate you guys. I'm in hell. I have to listen to these things, but he did his homework, and I'll agree with that. And Lynch has heard these albums before, so it's great to have him here. Hopefully, Jim Lollimer's watching. We'd like to get his vote. The fan vote on the Loki and Jabroni Show Facebook page went 67% for Carnival of Souls, 33% for Music from the Elder, which is not bad. It's not great, but the fan vote has to be logged when we go to the votes.
Yup.
Already 1 for Carnival. Now, in a few minutes, we're going to be joined by Joey Cassata he of ZO2, he of the TV show Z-Rock, he of the Great Comet of 1812, which is a Broadway production. He played with Josh Groban, I believe it was.
Yep.
He wrote the book, Start With a Dream. I have to drop that book off next week on my way here to Jim Lalamere, who we've mentioned now 4,694 times. Jim, if you're not watching, you're fired. He's got to read that book. It's a fantastic thing, and if you haven't gotten your copy of Start With a Dream, you go to LokiandJabroni.com, click our affiliate links, go to Amazon, and buy your copy of Start With a Dream. You will not be disappointed. 482 pages of just a rock and roll dream come true.
Sign up for a free trial for Amazon Music.
Sure.
Listen to it for free.
Yeah, listen to ZO2. I don't know if Start With a Dream has an audio thing yet. We'll have to ask Joey when he comes on in just a few minutes. But it would be great if Joey read his life story, and I'm a subscriber to Audible. I would listen to Joey tell his life story.
He doesn't have an audiobook yet?
I don't know, and that's a question. That's what I just said out loud. But
I could have sworn.
if he look, Eddie's going to the Google machine right now.
No, I'm going to the Amazon machine.
Okay, he's going to the Amazon
Hello,
machine.
Amazon.
I'm going to the Bezos machine.
All right. Thank you, Jeff Bezos,
Which
for
I
creating.
found out he owns the original shooting model for the Enterprise in the movies.
Does he really?
Yes, he does.
It's in the lobby of his space company.
he
Fan
does.
fucking tastic.
No
even
glass
though,
case, nothing. He just has it right out.
even though space isn't real and the Earth is flat.
Earth.
Don't get me started. That's going to be on
Earth.
What's Fucked Up next time I. Oh Christ!
Planet Earth.
Don't get me started.
Flat Earth talk.
Well, fuck flat Earth. While I'm on the subject.
Oh no, he does not have an audiobook. I thought he did.
Well, we'll talk to Joey about getting an audiobook together. But by my count,
Tell him you want to read it. We'll record it here.
hey, bring it. We'll bring him up from Jersey. We'll do it.
And you have to do voices. So when Gene comes in, like,
There'll be no talk of Vinnie Vincent this entire tour. I can't do a good Gene. This is Gene Simmons
what are you doing? Give
This
me
is
that
Gene
bat.
Simmons.
of Kiss.
Give me
This
that
is-
bat, and I'll show you how it's done.
Right.
Throw the wiffle ball,
This
Paul.
is Gene Simmons of Kiss in the Kiss Army.
None of us
There'll be-
have a good Gene Simmons
There'll
impression.
be no talk.
Gene Simmons doesn't have a good Gene Simmons.
The two best Gene Simmons impressions: Craig Gass, who we've never had on the show, and Mark Slaughter, who we have had on the show.
Speaking of which, I watched Runaway recently.
Great movie.
Decent film. I love it.
Great movie.
What?
Decent film.
I think it was great.
I like it because it's so bad.
I like it because it's Michael Crichton trying, and he
That's
really
not
did.
the first time he
tried.
tried. He's tried a couple times, and as a director and stuff, he's horrible.
But that film
wasn't Congo Michael Crichton?
was
He wrote the
Congo
book.
Michael Crichton.
The book.
Okay.
Yeah.
He wrote the book, but he did the Andromeda Strain, I think. Didn't
Yes.
he? Yeah,
Yes.
he directed that one.
Yep.
Which is considered a classic. but I think that's a bad movie too.
1974-ish.
4 or 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Early.
All right.
Great
Early.
author. I wouldn't as a
Yeah.
director. Yeah.
All right, so
Meh.
we're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. If you are YouTube Jones, hold on. 8:30, we have Joey Cassata. We're going to get him on the line, and we're going to start the shitty Kiss album debate of 2019. Stay tuned, kids.
I'm just wild about animal crackers, animal crackers. I can't live without animal crackers, bears and tigers. Funky old days. And whenever I am at a swell cafe, say all I order is animal crackers, firecrackers won't do. Goodness gracious, I'm no chump, I just get off the camel's hump. Animal crackers, I love you. I went to the animal fair, the birds and the beasts were there. The old baboon by the light of the moon was combing his auburn hair, and the the monkey he got drunk and sat on the elephant's trunk. The elephant sneezed and fell on his knees, and that was the end of the monk. I'm just wild about animal crackers, animal crackers. I can't live without animal crackers, bears and tigers haunt me all day. And whenever I am at a swell cafe, say all I order is animal crackers, firecrackers won't do. Goodness gracious, I'm no chump, I just bit off the camel's hump. Animal crackers, I love you. I went to the animal fair, the birds and the beasts were there. The old baboon by the light of the moon was combing his auburn hair. And the monkey he got drunk and sat on the elephant's trunk. The elephant sneezed and fell on his knees, and that was the end of the monk.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Loki and Jabroni Show. It is time now for the Shitty Kiss album debate. Which of the Shitty Kiss albums is better? Music from the Elder or Carnival of Souls? I am in the blue corner fighting for Carnival of Souls, and on the line right now fighting for Music from the Elder, he's a past guest. He is from ZO2, from the Great Comet of 1812, the author of Start With a Dream, Wrestling with Joey Licious aficionado. He is Joey Cassata. Joey, how you doing tonight?
Woo! What's up, guys? I do have to say I'm a little upset. I don't think these are the shitty Kiss albums. Let's just call them the least best Kiss album.
All right, I'm going to buy it.
Shitty, because they're still good.
I'm going to buy it, but for the sake of making it exciting, the best of the Shitty Kiss albums just sounded better. I don't know. You're the musical genius. By the way, Wrestling with Joey Licious, we know it's coming. Sitting here with interim co-host Chris Lynch, we're talking about Wrestling with Joey Licious. He was amazed that you got to work with the late, great Roddy Piper. Before we get into the debate, just a little bit of back info for Lynch. What was it like working with Roddy Piper?
He was absolutely incredible. I was negotiating with Roddy back and forth, not over terms or money or anything, just as far as script and, times and places and all that stuff for weeks. And just dealing with him on the phone was a dream come true. I was talking to him, 2 or 3 times a week for a couple, 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there. And just doing that, I was already fulfilled. And then when he showed up on set and we finally got the day and the time, it was a pleasure right from the get-go. You know, he didn't know what to expect. Obviously, he knew the script. He saw some of my other shorts, but he was still walking in blind. So when he walked in, he was a little skeptical, and it took him about 5 or 10 minutes to get comfortable. And once he did, he just unleashed and became Roddy, and he was amazing to work with.
Fantastic. Well, I have to give you a little bit of insight. On the Loki and Jabroni Show page, I put it out there for Kiss fans, which is the better album. We have the fan vote. We also have Eddie, who's judge. Lynch is going to be a judge. But also, watching on YouTube right now, and for all you audio-only people later in the week who are hearing this, you're not going to be able to know this until you hear it. We have a special guest celebrity judge who is watching on YouTube and is going to chime in intermittently. He is the leader, the founder of the Kiss Army. Bill Starkey is watching right now, and he is going to help judge this debate, because I knew for someone as big as Joey Cassata, we need a big judge. So Bill Starkey is watching, and Joey deferred to me to lead the debate. So, Eddie, if you will set the timer, I will get ready to make my opening argument. Go ahead, Joey.
1 second right before the opening. Just so you know, guys, the judges to only do audio, not by my choice. This is Chris's choice, so I'm obviously already at a disadvantage, but I'm going to go with it anyway.
You would beat me in a visual contest 9 times out of 10, twice on Sunday. The only way you wouldn't win is if my mom or my girlfriend were judging. That's it. So
we'll see about that. Next time I'm coming on visually.
Well,
and you know I'm Italian. You know I talk with my hands, so half of my argument is with my hands.
And there goes
out the window.
There goes my girlfriend's vote right out the door, right there. So
I do have Skype capabilities. So.
Well, if we had thought about it, Skype would have been good. But here we go, Eddie. If you want to set the timer, right. I will begin with my opening argument.
All right, we have opening statements. Each person debating will have 4 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm setting the timer for 4 minutes. So you're going first?
Joey has deferred to me, so right. I will start.
All right, gentlemen, start your engines.
Boom.
Okay, so I am fighting in support of Carnival of Souls, which was the album called Carnival of Souls, the final session. It was recorded from November 95 to February 96. It was released a year and change later on 10/28/97. This, to me, of the what I call the shitty Kiss albums, which is maybe a misnomer. It may or may not be crappy, but to me, they're not as widely accepted as Revenge, Destroyer, Love Gun, etc. The album was put on the shelf due to the Kiss reunion, which started in April of 96 at Tiger Stadium in Detroit. This album, at the time, could have been Kiss's relaunch. Revenge was a great stepping stone. They came back hard. They came back heavy. It was not all dark and gloomy, but there were some catchy tunes like Take It Off, etc., so forth. But this album was Kiss's misguided attempt, in my opinion. It was 61 minutes of misplaced grunge aggression with splashes of Kiss-like tunes. I've given each track on the record a grade, much like I did for Joey's record that he's arguing for, Music from the Elder, which, in my opinion, was 43 minutes of what the actual fuck is going on here. So, the album was produced by Toby Wright, who has worked with such artists as Alice in Chains, Metallica, Seven Dust, and Korn. I also know that Joey is going to bring up the producer of his album, which buries Toby Wright. So I already know I'm going to lose the producer point. The highest chart position for this album was number 27. The single from the album was Jungle, the only single, and it was number 8 on Mainstream Rock. And in 1997, Jungle won the Song of the Year in the Metal Edge Readers Poll, which, if, much like Joey, he grew up like me, you believed in those hard rock magazines. When you see that single wins, you know it meant something. The readers of these magazines are very picky. They're very particular. And for this record, although I disagree with their leaning toward the grunge sound was hot in 1995. This could have been, if the reunion hadn't happened, a second launching point for Kiss after the 80s were a failed attempt to grab onto whatever Bon Jovi and Van Halen were doing. This was an opportunity to take the dark and gloomy Gene Simmons type tunes that Kiss fans were just yearning for and taking it to the next level and launching a second career. However, they made the correct call to do the reunion. They brought back the classic lineup. They brought back the classic hits. And a year into the reunion, they released this album. And much like Joey's Choice, Music from the Elder, this album was shifted to the wayside, whereas it should have been highlighted, much like Joey's Choice of Music from the Elder. These are records that should have been lauded as fantastic artistic expressions versus what Kiss fans see them as, which is garbage Kiss albums. My opening statement is done. I now defer to Joey Cassata.
Okay, 17 seconds to spare.
Very well done. Very well done. Not
Thank you,
terrible. I agree with most of that, believe it or not. So to start my opening statement.
4 minutes, go.
Oh my God, he's playing fanfare. This is good.
There's one copyright claim.
YouTube's giggling
Flagged.
right now.
I don't think that'll be recognized. Don't worry.
I
To
recognized it.
begin my statement, I want to start by saying I actually love both of these records. I don't dislike either one. I don't think either one of them are shitty. I think they were possibly, weird albums for Kiss to do in both cases. One was in this fantasy realm and one was a grunge realm. So I think they were both out of the box concepts for Kiss. So I don't think they were shitty. I just think they were different and weird for the time and for this particular band. But going from there, a fantasy concept album by Kiss, which is the Music for the Elder, which is what I'm rooting for and fighting for, is exactly the perfect idea for a band like Kiss. They are a visual band. They are probably the most visual band in the history of music, right? And I would have to say that. So I'm arguing that this actually was the perfect idea at the time. Was it executed in the most perfect way? Probably not. I'm going to tell you some of my pluses for this album before I'll tell you where the downfall, I think, came from this record, which was, I think, mostly in marketing, not from execution. So to me, the execution on this album was actually brilliant. I think Kiss were now all in their 30s. This was not just the fuck you, suck me band, from the early 70s that every lyric that they can sing about was already sung about, and they did Love Gun, and they did Take Me, and they did, all these sexual innuendos. They wanted to move in a different direction. And at this time in the early 80s, when this was released November 10th, 1981, fantasy was a big, big, big genre in the world. Dungeons and Dragons was a huge hit at this point. I played Dungeons and Dragons. I know a lot of kids my age played Dungeons and Dragons at this age in 1981. I was 7 in 1981. Movies like Clash of the Titans and Dragon Slayer were released in 1981 before The Elder came out. Both huge successes. Stuff like Conan the Barbarian and The Dark Crystal were shortly followed after that in early 1982. And obviously, the whole concept behind The Elder is really straight out of the mythology of Star Wars and other mythical fantasy stories of, the whole history of the world. But Star Wars really brought that story back into light of the young boy hero battling the dark element. And that's what Kiss was going for here. And it was definitely not a stretch by any means for them, because they were still writing about feel-good music. They were still writing about believe in yourself, fight evil, I believe in me, and inspirational music, and no doom and gloom. This was, even though it was a fantasy concept, it still had that Kiss message, which was believe in yourself and believe in everything you do, and you don't need anyone else to help you get through anything. I believe in me. That was their concept of this record. And to argue the producer points, I think Bob Ezrin, the producer of music from The Elder, was the absolute perfect choice. Not only did he do Alice Cooper's Welcome to My Nightmare, but he also was just coming off the giant success of Pink Floyd The Wall, which was a huge concept album for the time. So there was no reason to think that this could possibly be a failure.
Time.
All the cards were lining up perfect. Is that the time already?
That's time.
That's 4 minutes.
Okay. What's the next stage, Eddie, who is moderating this debate?
Where's the paper?
It's right there, bro. Come on. You're killing me. This is why we need to hire. You see how I did that with alliteration right
All
there?
right. Stage 2. Each competitor
Yep.
will have 4 minutes. You must now defend your choice.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Chris Burns, go.
Are you ready to shout it out loud?
I am ready to shout it out loud from Detroit Rock City. Let's do this.
Shout it out loud.
God gave rock and roll to you.
He did. Gave it to everyone.
And go.
Okay. So, in terms of commercial appeal, I just want to point out the chart position. The highest chart position for Carnival of Souls on the Billboard Top 200 was number 27. This is the week after it was released. It was released on 10/28/97, reached number 27. I have a feeling that this was hardcore Kiss fans coming out and saying, we've wanted new Kiss. The last real Kiss album that we got was Revenge back in 1992. That charted at number 6. This charting at number 7 was no joke. You go back to The Elder, and I'm not, again, this is going to go back to the Q&A portion next when we go after Joey's dissertation. The highest chart position for The Elder was number 75 back in December of 1981. The single Jungle reached number 8 on the mainstream rock, 1997 single of the year. This was a great album, and I took the time and the effort to give grades to each and every one of the tracks on each album. Carnival of Souls had 12, Elder had 11. So if I have to eliminate one song, I'm going to eliminate one of the higher charting songs that I have on this. So I'm going to eliminate Bruce Kulick's vocal debut of I Walk Alone, which got a C- in my opinion, because he tried. Bruce Kulick cannot sing, but he can play the guitar like nobody's business. So I'm going to run down, in whatever time I have left, the grades that I gave to each and every song on the album. The album starts with Hate. I give that a B+. That's a Gene Simmons song all day long. It's angry, it's dark, it's brooding. Number 2 was Rain. It's a Paul Stanley song. Paul Stanley is not about anger. Paul Stanley is about uplifting and having fun and catchy tunes. I gave it a C+ because he tried. Number 3 was Master and Slave. I gave that an A because Paul made a catchy tune in the grunge vein, which is what this album was. Number 4 was Childhood's End, another gloomy Gene Simmons tune, but not his best. I give it a B+. Number 5, I Will Be There, Paul's ode to his son. The only reason I didn't fail this song was because it was Paul's ode to his son, Evan. I gave it a D+. Number 6, Jungle. You can't argue with success. The song is catchy. Even my girlfriend, who does not like Kiss, has Jungle on her heavy rotation on her Apple Music.
Nice.
I give that an A+. Number 7, In My Head. A Gene Simmons tune which doesn't make sense, which if you listen to a lot of Gene Simmons tunes, they don't make sense. I gave it an F. Number 8, It Never Goes Away, which is a Paul Stanley song, again, trying to reach into the grunge feel, but again, when you listen to Paul Stanley tunes, you don't want to hear doom and gloom. I gave it a D. Number 9, Seduction of the Innocent, B+. He's talking about Catholic priests versus the children, etc., so forth. If you had to do it all over again, would you pull the trigger aimed at his brain? B+. Number 10, I Confess, a Paul Stanley tune, which I think he really nailed. I gave it a B. Number 11, In the Mirror. Oh, I'm sorry. I Confess was a Gene Simmons tune. My bad. Number 11, In the Mirror. I had to re-listen to it before we went hot to kind of get a feel for what Paul was trying to say in this song. take a look in the mirror, see the lines getting clearer. I gave it a C only because I don't think Paul was really ingrained in that grudge land, but I think Kiss was going in the right direction in 1995 with this record. So,
Time's up.
Time's up. Sorry, won't
Yep,
comment further.
Very nice. Joey, are you ready to defend your position?
Yes, I'm ready.
And as I
So,
said
like
before, shout out loud.
When I left off, so I was saying how I still believe that this concept of this album was just absolutely brilliant. And Kiss being a multimedia band, their plan all along was to have this album coincide with the movie. Hence the title, Music from the Elder.
Mm-hmm.
There was also a follow-up album and movie to be called War with the Gods, obviously that never took place.
Yes.
These were the exact things that I wanted from Kiss. They were superheroes, mythic fantasy figures. They weren't your ordinary jeans and T-shirt band like AC/DC. They were larger than life. So this concept was perfect for Kiss, and I even believe it at this time because the poppy music that they were putting out with Unmasked and Dynasty lost their fan base. Yes, maybe they should have gone back to hard rock, but this fantasy realm was their first attempt at that. And the songs on it mostly projected that. Songs like The Oath, songs like Mr. Blackwell, songs like Eric Carr's drumming on this record was absolutely phenomenal. This was his first recorded drumming for Kiss. And even though the actual quality of the drumming wasn't, the actual quality of the sound wasn't as great as I would have liked, like it's on Creatures, the performance was absolutely stellar. Even Ace's performances on what he did on the album were stellar. Of course, there are some downsides like Paul's falsetto and stuff like that, and maybe the overproduction of songs like The Odyssey, of course. But this was meant to be a movie soundtrack. It wasn't just to be meant to listen to. It was meant to be visualized as well. And hence, I think the problem, which was the marketing of this album. The marketing was terrible. You had a dull cover with a door handle and Paul's hand on it. It should have been a Frank Frazetta painting, a fantasy painting of them as the elders, which I always pictured the Kiss members as the elders with this boy fighting Mr. Blackwell or whatever the evil is in this world. That would have jumped off the shelves and people would have been like, holy cow, what is this? Because that fantasy realm, like I said, even when all the Frazetta paintings and such at the time in the movies was a very big genre. The problem, again, 1981, Kiss was dead no matter what album they released. I believe this could have been Creatures or Lick It Up or whatever album they released at that time. They were dead in the water. So the backlash on this album was more because Kiss was actually dead and uncool at the time rather than this album was dead and uncool. I think this album is phenomenal. Nobody liked Kiss at this time. Nobody. The problem I have with Carnival of Souls, and as much as I even like that record, it was a lame attempt at following the newest trend. Kiss had lost everything they were, and they were compromising everything. Gene was even quoted saying, and this is an absolute joke, Gene Simmons actually said this, "I want to be like Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins." What? You're the god of thunder. You're Gene Simmons. Are you kidding me? You want to be like Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins? It just shows you how lost they were. Kiss is not a doom and gloom band. I don't want to hear about Kiss being depressed and Kiss, singing all these deep lyrics. I want to hear the old stuff, like I said, of the sexual innuendos. Or I want to hear this fantasy stuff with the positive message of you believing in yourself and your heroes. So once again, I believe The Elder was actually perfectly executed. Yes, of course, maybe a little over-orchestrated at times, but the production on The Elder far exceeds Toby Wright's dull, crappy production on Carnival of Souls. So therefore, that's why I believe The Elder is the winner.
Perfect timing.
Okay.
Awesome.
Exactly.
Thanks, Joey.
So where are we at now? We're at the Q&A section.
Yes. Q&A. 8 minutes total between you and Chris. No holds barred. Hit him where it hurts.
And you guys get to chime in.
Hit him with the high.
With some input from Lynch. And Joey, just so you know, I did listen to both albums plus Unmasked because I hate myself, apparently.
Just out of curiosity, you said you listened to both records. Did you listen to the original version, the version that should have come out for the Elder, the original track listing?
I'm not sure.
I think I
listened to a
pointed him in that
remastered-
direction.
I listened
Yes.
to a remastered one on Tidal.
Yeah, I think the
Okay.
whose alarm is still going off?
Eddie's. It's the timer.
Okay.
That was the
Yeah.
one thing that I didn't get to in my statements was the Elder, the original lineup of the Elder was the track listing that made sense story-wise for the whole movie and concept of the record. The album that was released by the general public, by Polygram at the time, they didn't think that Fanfare and Just a Boy was a good enough opener, so they had to move the track listing around and put the Oath first. which,
Yeah.
yes, of course, the Oath is killer to begin with, but
The Fanfare
if you
came
listen
on
to the-
first. for
if
the
you
one I
listen-
listened to.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. In
Yeah.
the
okay,
version
then you
I
listen to the right
yeah.
one.
the
Right.
version I pointed Eddie in the direction, Fanfare opened, and then it was Just a Boy.
Now keep in mind too, like just to throw it out there, I listened to this blind, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, he has no
I
concept.
didn't even know this was like associated with a movie. So I just listened to it. I'm like, what is this? Is this like an audio book or something? Is Gene gonna start reading his biography? What do you?
I'm going to read as Joey, good point about The Elder being a visual release and how the marketing was bad. Another good point about how the world was done with Kiss at the time, thus the album was doomed. So you're getting some love from Bill Starkey right now. Good call.
I love you. I love you too, Bill. You're a handsome and attractive man.
Oh my God, he went with the handsome and attractive bit. Start the timer. I have a
I actually
question.
misquoted it. It's a powerful and attractive man. I don't want to
attractive
give
man.
Gene Simmons off.
Very powerful.
Why you're one of my favorite people in the world.
I love you.
Start the
Beavis.
timer. I'll start with
There'll
my
be no
question.
kissing up to Bill Starkey on the Loki and Jabroni show.
There's always kissing up to Bill
I know,
Starkey.
we
on
love
the Bill
Bill.
Show.
We love Bill. All right, you ready for the 8 minutes?
Eight-
Ready
yes.
to rumble.
Go. Okay, you talk about Kiss being uncool in 81. I want to ask you, what was different in 95 when Kiss was kind of on dying legs playing Australia, Chile, Argentina, but not the States, and not drawing in a house, basically. What was different between 81 and 95, Joe?
Well, no, I'm not saying that it was different. I'm saying that both albums were doomed to fail. Of course, Kiss was dead in 95 as well. The problem with Kiss in 95, they tried to jump on a bandwagon to become relevant again. Whereas in 1981, yes, they were dead, and they were trying this new crazy concept of this movie and this concept album to regenerate their careers, rather than jumping on a bandwagon and detuning their guitars and basically trying to sound like Alice in Chains. The Elder sounds like nothing. It's way more original and way more thought out than Carnival of Souls, which to me is just, you might as well have had an Alice in Chains album.
Okay. Your question, sir.
So again, I'll ask you basically the same thing. Yes, I believe Carnival was actually a pretty good record, but why would they actually just copy what everyone else is doing?
Okay.
Revenge was a dynamite record, and it stayed true to their roots, and it was heavy. Why Carnival? Why go so far into the genre and really abandon everything you've stood for at that time?
Okay, one word, Nirvana. Nirvana basically killed rock and roll for a good 5-year period. And the more bands that came out, like Nirvana, like an Alice in Chains, like a Soundgarden, like a Pearl Jam, to follow a trend isn't exactly the worst thing ever. For Kiss in the 80s, it was the worst thing ever. We got albums which you had 3 great songs and 9 fillers. But Revenge, like you said, was just, it's destroyer level. If you're a Kiss fan, Revenge is destroyer level. So by 95, this wasn't the bad album to make. Other bands tried and succeeded, much like Warrant did, much like Motley Crue tried to do with John Corabi. If they had done it with Vince Neil, I think it would have had a little more legs. Warrant did it and failed with Dog Eat Dog. There's a lot of what a lot of people, not me, but what a lot of people would call the hair metal acts of the 80s, which Kiss was not a hair metal act. They were a classic metal act from the 70s, transitioned to the 80s, now the 90s. They tried, some of them succeeded, some of them failed. Winger's album Pull, which was a fantastic record, which still is in heavy rotation on my iTunes every single day, was great. It didn't sell well, but it showed that they could move forward, much like Kiss tried to do. But Kiss is now in their 40s, and they're trying to, I don't want to say they were chasing a trend, they blended into the trend. There were a lot of catchy tunes on this record. Jungle, Master and Slave, Seduction of the Innocent. Great songs. They could have been on any other Kiss record in any particular period in their time. Whereas on The Elder, A World Without Heroes, The Oath, and Only You, which I think Doro Pesh did better, could have been
Yes.
on any Kiss album in any era. So, in my opinion, to your question, I think Carnival works more toward a real Kiss album versus The Elder, which I thought was contrived. And that'll lead to my next question when you're ready.
I'm ready. Go ahead.
Okay. Do you think The Elder failed commercially because the film was never made?
Of course, I don't think that helped. I think The Elder failed commercially for two reasons, like I stated before. I think it failed commercially because the marketing behind it was absolutely awful. Even me, and if you've ever read my book, Start with a Dream.
Oh, I have.
Drummer's Journey from Rock and Roll to...
Which you can get on lokinjabroni.com/Amazon. Order the book now, and there's now a hardcover edition, which I am pissed off that I can't get for free with extra chapters. Joey, you're the man. Go ahead.
Judges, just so you know, they might be available for free if you come my way. Anyway,
I'm gonna
like
give
I
you
said-
extra time because of that plug.
Okay.
Give him an extra minute.
Extra time for plugging.
like I was saying, in my book, even in my book, it says the very first album I ever bought with my own money. I already owned Kiss albums at the time, but the very first album I ever bought was Music from the Elder. I bought it on cassette. And even me, being a big Kiss fan at the time, saw it and wasn't even sure that it was a Kiss record. So not only was it not appealing to the already big Kiss fan base that was out there, but it didn't appeal to anyone. It was a doorknob. So yes, I think the marketing behind it, of course, not having the movie there too, of course didn't help. But the marketing behind just the visual aspect of this record was completely blown. Like I said, unfortunately, Kiss was dead at the time, I think, no matter what happened. But the right way to present this record would have been to have a Frank Frazetta fantasy painting with beautiful colors, you know, much like The Elder, much like Love Gun and Destroyer, but even more fantasy-based by Frazetta, which would have been a gorgeous, eye-popping album. And at the very least, I think you would have gotten a gold record at the time just because of the marketing behind it and the execution of that. But because it was such a dull cover, it never had a chance in the market. It was on the shelf and no one even knew what it was. Even the Kiss logo in the corner, if you really look at it, looks almost camouflaged.
Yeah.
You can hardly tell what it is. So,
Okay.
I mean, that's what I think caused this album to fail. Whereas your album, to me, was destined to fail anyway. Now, this would lead into my question, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
So my question to you is, you're saying that, you know, they were following a trend and maybe they followed trends in the 80s and so on and so forth. They so blatantly not only followed this trend, but even Paul is on the record as saying they destroyed everything that they believe in, everything that they've sung about up to that point. And even the music on The Elder, like I said, the lyrics on The Elder still stand for believe in yourself, believe in, you know, your heroes and so on and so forth. Even all the trend-setting records in the 80s that they followed, the Bon Jovis and so on and so forth, Kiss was still Kiss. Crazy, Crazy Nights, Lick It Up, Tears Are Falling, Who Wants to Be Lonely. It's all songs about love and sex and stuff like that. There was never this doom and gloom that when grunge became the it thing to do, that Carnival tried to do. Again, I still think Carnival is actually a really good record because I'm a Kiss fan. I love Gene. I love Paul. But the sound of the record is absolutely awful. Eric Singer's drum sound is probably the worst drum sound on any Kiss record, and that's including Hotter Than Hell for me. The sound is just so cardboardy. It's unbelievable. It's like, and I know they put it together quick, and I know there wasn't a lot of money behind it, but that's because no one believed in it. Rather than doing this, They should have been Kiss again. And with the failure of Revenge, they knew Revenge was such a great record, right? Yes, it was a great record, but it was still a failure. The tour failed. So they knew they weren't moving in the right direction. Right then was the time to put the makeup back on. Just like right after Creatures, which is the revenge of the makeup era, they took their makeup off. Right after Revenge, they should have put the makeup right back on rather than putting out this subpar, genre-chasing crap.
All right. Can I get 2 minutes to answer this question? Because I want to give Joey his just deserves. He did a really great job. Yeah, Joey gave a really. If Joey agrees, I want 2 minutes to answer.
That was a great response,
Sure, yeah,
by the way.
you
It was
got it, of course.
fantastic.
And I have, if after you're done with your 2 minutes,
I do want to chime in real quick.
Go ahead.
If we could do the peanut gallery.
One thing about Carnival that I did notice, and listening, it's funny listening to like a lot of hip hop and stuff like I do. It's a lot of it's in the sound engineering, and I felt like the sound engineering in that album was absolute shit.
Okay.
It just like I'm like, who the hell is
Like very
just wasn't there
in your face, very.
Okay.
And I get to like that was kind of the grunge thing too. It was the stripped down garage band sounding kind of thing. But when I was like, this is Kiss, I don't want this garage band stuff.
Well, the one point I'm going to make before Chris talks.
Go ahead.
Is look at the era we're talking about, 81 versus 95.
Okay.
You have two very important genres rising in that time frame.
The new wave of British heavy metal in '81.
Yes, and then 95 grunge.
Right.
So you're putting a band who has been bombastic and very in your face for the last how many years since they got to that point?
10 years. We'll just give them 10 years.
Give them 10 years from 71 to 81, rising into the charts. Then they have a lull. Then they have a resurgence with Unmasked. That was all a marketing ploy.
Mhm.
You can debate me all you want, fight me, but that
I
was
might.
that was a marketing campaign, honestly. And then 95, here comes Nirvana, here comes Pearl Jam, here comes Puddle of Mud, here comes
Soundgarden.
Soundgarden, where
a lot of those people are people that loved
Kiss.
They love Kiss, but they wanted to elevate the music to a level.
But let's rest in peace, Chris Cornell. Chris Cornell didn't want to sing with the grunge Kiss. He wants to sing with the Kiss that he loves.
Right.
So look at it from that point of view.
And look at it from that perspective. They made the veterans of this genre that grew up through the late 60s, early 70s into the 80s, try to raise their game. Judas Priest, another prime example.
Oh, yeah. I can't listen to the Priest albums from 74 on. And as much as I love Starbreaker and all those, the Joan Baez cover, what is it? Joey, help me. Come on, what was it?
I can't think either.
Washington Square, etc., so forth.
I can hear it in my head, but the title's escaping me right now. But
I'm getting it right now. Hold on. Diamonds and Rust.
Yes. So
still the Ayatollah of rock and roll. Chris Jericho's got nothing on me.
My point is that every genre of music, whether it's metal, rock, country, what have you, pop, every generation has a level they want to hit.
Right.
And once they exceed it, the guys in the back seat who actually brought it to the forefront are like, holy shit. What am I going to do?
I kind of disagree with something Chris was saying. I don't think every artist that reinvents themselves succeeds, though.
No, not always.
It doesn't always happen.
It
does not always happen.
Alanis Morissette. Alanis Morissette reinvented herself and did very well.
I hate to point this out, but Taylor Swift started as a country artist.
Yes.
The minute she reinvented herself into the pop gimmick, she blew up.
You know what, though? She wouldn't have been able to do that without Shania Twain.
And I'll agree with that. I want to read a comment.
Because Shania brought herself to a different level.
And Faith
Hill.
Right.
Those two artists.
And I want to read a
you.
comment before I take my 2 minutes to respond to Joey about the difference between Eric Carr and Eric Singer and the drumming on these albums. Bill says, wow, Joey, I never heard anyone blame the cover of The Elder as the reason it tanked. It's a very interesting observation, and I have to agree with that.
I do as
because, like you said, Kiss is a very visual band. You see the Love Gun cover. You see the Alive 2 cover. You see Destroyer. Even Hotter Than Hell. just some of these records. One of my favorite covers of all time is Dress to Kill on the New York street corner. Fantastic.
Imagine if like a Journey album came out and didn't have those elaborate
Oh, yeah.
scarab covers that
Or
they
even
always have.
ELO.
Yeah.
Like that's
Again,
that's
not only
associated with
did-
that
not only-
band.
Go ahead, Joe.
Not
Go ahead,
only
Joey.
did they
Sorry.
not only did they not have those iconic Kiss images on the cover, but they had a doorknob. Okay, it wasn't like they had, just hot girls on the cover or sexy girls, and they just didn't have Kiss on the cover. They had a doorknob. Okay, that was the cover. Okay, a door knocker. So that if you see that on the shelf, a kid is not buying it. I don't care if he knew Kiss or not. I was a major Kiss fan, and I had it in my hand for 20 minutes before I bought it because I wasn't positive it was really Kiss or not.
Yeah.
It at least stunted the album by half, I think.
Okay.
At least.
All right. Are you ready for my 2 minutes?
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
Let's go.
You tell me when.
2 minutes going to Chris Burns to respond to Joey.
Okay.
Go.
I'm going to start with the drums. You're coming off an album called Unmasked, which had Anton Fig and a drum machine basically taking you through the record. And now Eric Carr, who I love and respect to this day, I have the Chikara on my arm tattooed because I am such an Eric Carr fan. I definitely think comparing the two, Eric Singer, he was using a drum box. He was using a lot of different drumming techniques on Carnival. I think that kind of negates itself. If I'm going to go to the tunes on the record, there's more snappy tunes, more toe tappers on Carnival. If you go to Master and Slave, Jungle, Seduction of the Innocent, whereas on Elder, I look at A World Without Heroes is a ballad. Yeah, that's great, but The Oath is a great rocker. Only You was fantastic. I think those kind of negate each other as well. But on the covers, much like you said, The Elder was doomed from the start because of the hand, the door knocker, the wooden knotted door. When you buy the CD or the cassette, you open it up, there's no pictures of the band whatsoever. Much like Carnival, you look at the cover, it's the guys in a studio holding their instruments, and when you open it up, it's plain Jane Jones. There's nothing there. But the proof is in the pudding, in the music. When I listen to The Elder, and again, I love every Kiss album much like you do, I listen to The Elder, it's like, okay, this is a warm bath of nostalgia. When I listen to Carnival, there's something that I can get behind. There's an anger, there's a hatred, there's snappy tunes, there's everything that I never thought Kiss could do on one record versus, again,
Time.
thank you. I'll stop there.
All right.
All
So
right.
we're moving along into.
Final arguments?
Gentlemen, are you ready for your 4-minute closing arguments?
Yes. Joey, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Please remember the rules of decorum. There'll be no personal insults.
Yeah. I would never insult Joey Cassata only because I dig him that much.
We're all friends here. We're all
And donuts to the producer does guarantee a win.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Krispy Kreme or Dunkin'.
Krispy Kreme, but we don't have that.
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
time.
yeah.
All right.
Let's
All
go.
right.
All right.
All right, let me get back into the clock here.
All right.
4 minutes going on the clock. Who's up first?
I am.
All right, Mr. Jabroni.
Go Jabroni.
Continue.
Okay. So, as I said earlier, when I rated the songs on Carnival of Souls, I'm going to now give you my grades on The Elder. Number 1, Fanfare, F. What the hell is orchestration doing on a Kiss album? Number 2, Just a Boy, a Paul Stanley fluff piece. I'm not buying it. It's a D. Odyssey, number 3, D+. Another Paul Stanley, let's see how high we can get our vocal range and make this happen. It's a D. Number 4, Only You, B-. I get it because it was a Gene and Eric Carr gimmick. They tried. They tried their best. I give it a B- because it's one of my favorite Kiss songs. It's in my top 10. Number 5, Under the Rose, an Eric Carr composition, completely, in his words, ruined by Gene Simmons. Number 6, Dark Light might be one of the highlights of the record. It's Ace doing what Ace does. It's a B+. Number 7, A World Without Heroes gets an A only because it's still a Kiss song. When you watch Kiss Unplugged, the crowd goes nuts. It's one of those songs people want to hear. Number 8 is The Oath, and another A. That's what I want out of Kiss. Hard rocking stuff. Doesn't matter what the subject matter is. Mr. Blackwell gets a D only because I couldn't give it an F because I understood the concept of the record. Number 10, the instrumental Escape from the Island. I have to give it a D. I don't understand because there was no film behind it. I gets a C because it seems like retread Rock and Roll All Night. They tried it with Tomorrow and Tonight. They failed with that. They tried it with They failed with that. Whereas I can look at Carnival of Souls and see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, according to my count, if you take out the Bruce Kulick track, 5 songs that I can still listen to over and over again that just are Kiss tunes. And yes, there are losers on this record, much like In My Head, much like It Never Goes Away, or much like I Will Be There. This album stands head and shoulders above The Elder, in my opinion, and I'm not a professional musician, whereas Joey is, and he can argue the technicality of the record. But from me, the fan, the guy who just dumps his money into the band, much like Joey does as well. And I'm not discounting Joey because he's a professional musician. I'm saying from me, regular guy Jones, Carnival of Souls stands head and shoulders above The Elder. And I rest my case. If it doesn't fit, you must have quit.
1 minute, 11 seconds left. All right. 1 minute, 11 seconds left on the clock.
And I will donate that time to Joey Cassata.
If he's been nailing
Probably won't need it.
He's been nailing the
He's been
I don't-
killing it.
I
He's
don't.
killing it.
I don't think I'll need it, but if I run over, give it to me.
All right, fair enough.
Absolutely.
All right, you ready, Joey?
I'm ready.
Destroy.
So the reason why, again, I believe The Elder is a far superior album. The Elder was set to make a stance, to create something magical. This was a big chance for Kiss. They were creative. They were thinking huge with a movie coincide with this, with the second movie called War of the Gods to follow. This was a giant concept for Kiss in the grand scheme of their legacy. Whereas Carnival of Souls was the exact opposite. It was Kiss at their most complacent point in their history. They crawled up in a corner in a ball in the fetal position and succumbed to what was happening at the time and said, okay, I guess we're going to have to do this. Whereas The Elder was the opposite. They were taking the biggest chance of their career and creating something hopefully magical in their eyes. Whether it was a success commercially or not, I could care less. I don't care about charts and singles and all that stuff. I care about creativity, execution, and final product. And the final product of The Elder to me is still magical. Yes, of course, there are parts where it's overthought and possibly over-orchestrated, but when you think of it coinciding with the movie, when you hear a song like Fanfare, yes, you gave it an F, but I'm hearing Fanfare as a start of a movie, and I can see the visuals behind it. I could see the magical landscape of this boy possibly going down a river, and you see him for the first time, much like Star Wars, when you see Luke for the first time looking at those two suns. Would you call that music ridiculous and absurd? No, it's magical because you see Luke looking at those two suns. That's much how I would picture Fanfare and Just a Boy. Yes, the songs are a little weird and quirky, but they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be magical in this world of a movie and fantasy. It's not your everyday Kiss song. It's supposed to be in this world, and you're supposed to imagine yourself in that world. It's like reading a book. When you read a book, you have to picture everything you're doing and everything they're talking about. Much like The Elder, when you listen to it front to back in the original order, that's what you should be doing. Picture the story, picture the movie, picture Just a Boy, picture Odyssey, picture Only You when it starts, that the elders are coming to this boy and they're telling him, only you can save us, only you can stop the darkness. Under the Rose, they're talking about how he could be a member of this society of the Rose if only he's worthy. Then Dark Light, the dark tries to succumb him and tries to take over him so he doesn't help the champions and help the elders succeed against the darkness. A world without heroes is him possibly not being the hero and the world being doomed. And then you have stuff like the oath. No, I won't succumb to the light. I'm taking the oath. I'm going to join the Order of the Rose and fight against, next song, Mr. Blackwell. Mr. Blackwell is the evil he's fighting against. He's going to save the world, and he does it. Because he believes in himself and he believes in his heroes. His heroes will save him. He will save it because he believes in himself. It's a story. It's not songs. It's a story. It's a book. It's magical. Whereas Carnival of Souls, to me, again, is the exact opposite. The lyrical content of the album is pathetic because you know it's just contrived. Nobody's depressed. They're all millionaires. They're riding in limos. No one's depressed. Yes, Kiss is in a low, but they're still Kiss. They've succeeded in their life. They're fine. They're singing about doom and gloom, but only because Kurt Cobain sang about it and he was successful in it. You even said it yourself. Nirvana happened, so they had to follow that trend. Ridiculous. You never follow a trend. You start a trend. They're Kiss. They don't follow trends. They start trends. The Elder was going to start a trend of this new magical realm for Kiss as superheroes and
That's
mystical
4. Do you need more
figures.
time?
I'm good. That was the problem. The Elder was going to start a new trend, and Carnival was succumbing to a trend. That's
Okay.
why I feel the Elder is far superior.
All right. So now we start again with the fan vote, which was 67% Carnival, 33% Elder. So one vote goes to Carnival. We're going to go now to co-host Chris Lynch. Chris?
Just before we go to the next one, I'm just curious. I'd love to see after you air this episode, after they hear my argument for the Elder, I guarantee you that vote changes. Go ahead.
You know what? It might be, and I'll let you know exactly what happens.
And leading into that point, I want to say, Joey, that your argument is very compelling. And I'm looking at Chris's notes. I'm looking Chris's notes between Carnival of Souls and the Elder. Based upon when the Elder was produced, 1981, November 10th, 1981, Kiss was at a lull in their career, and they were trying to reinvent themselves. But if you were I'm talking straight musicianship, musicality between Elder and Carnival of Souls. I'm gonna go with Elder,
Wow.
honestly, because they had nothing to lose by putting that album out, even though there was no movie behind it. I feel that Carnival of Souls, again, going back on his point, on Joey's point, is that Carnival of Souls, they had much more to lose than they did with music, with the
From
Elder.
the Elder, yeah.
Music from the Elder. They were in such a sea of competition in 1996, 1997 than they were back in 81. Grunge hadn't happened yet. There was no. They were kind of competing against the new wave of British metal,
Mhm.
but I feel that they felt more involved and invested in that album than they did here. I think in Carnival of Souls, they were just kind of going through the motions.
Mhm.
They were just trying to crank out an album to compete against.
Felt
the-
very forced.
Exactly.
like-
it felt forced,
Like
and it
half
felt.
the people involved with it didn't even want to be involved with it.
Gene
That's what it
Simmons
felt
was
like.
sorry. I'm going to play a few bass notes, and I'm going to get.
And
the
I
fuck outta
want to
here.
bring up what Joey said earlier, which was always a big point of contention for me, was Gene Simmons saying, "I want to be Billy Corgan," and I don't remember who said it back to him. I remember it was Behind the Mask was a great Kiss book. If you haven't got it, go to
It is a great
loganjabroni.com,
book.
Amazon, buy the book, Behind the Mask. And whoever he said that to said, Gene, you're an icon unto yourself. Don't try to be somebody else. But at that time, the music had shifted so much that even Motley Crue, Warrant, everybody, Winger were making grunge albums. Some were good in Winger's case, and some were bad in Motley's case. But again, I'm not trying to sway the vote. I'm going to your point. Whereas in '81, anybody would have got railroaded by the new wave of British heavy metal, and I think Joey will agree with me. In '81, with the Judas Priests, the Iron Maiden, the Saxons, everybody that came out in that era was burying what Kiss was doing at the time.
Well, it's not even.
Yes, but hold on. Let me rebut a little bit.
Go ahead.
But the problem is, Kiss could have easily said, "Okay, we'll become a new wave of British heavy metal band," and they didn't. They went the opposite way. They made a pop album with Unmasked, and they made this concept album with The Elder. Whereas in '95, '96, they didn't take a new chance. They didn't try something new. They went with the trend and failed miserably at it because that's not Kiss. To compare what Motley and Warrant and Winger were doing to what Kiss should be doing, to me, is absurd. Kiss is a trendsetter, not a trend follower.
Yeah,
Those bands
and
are not.
I'll
Crew
agree.
maybe in the early days. Winger and Warrant are followers. They came out in '88, '89. They saw the hair bands and they followed. They saw the grunge and they followed. Kiss is different. Kiss starts things. They don't follow things.
But I will.
Joey, can I ask you a question? Have you ever heard the Winger album Pull?
I haven't, no.
Oh, it's a fantastic record. Check out Junkyard Dog. Check out Down Incognito. Great stuff.
And
But
I will say that.
Again,
It's not Rainbow in the Rose. It's not 17.
Again, I'm not saying I like Carnival Souls. I still like the album.
Mhm.
I was disappointed because Kiss went that way. Do I still think it? I had the bootleg 2 years before it was released. I
You
loved
and me
it.
both.
I used to listen to it all the time. Of course.
You and me both.
But again, the standing the test of time, The Elder was something that they just took a chance on, and they
Mhm.
if it was a commercial success, to this day it would be revered like The Wall.
Okay.
It just wasn't, again, because I think
and
the
I'll-
marketing and Kiss was dead at that point.
I'll
All
agree. I'll agree with that point because they felt like they're taking more of a chance back in '81 than they were versus 95, 96, 97.
All right, so you're voting Elder.
Honestly, yes.
All right, so
So,
now we have
it's a tie.
Lynch with Elder. Bill Starkey came in and said, Joey gets my vote tonight. He brought up some points that I thought were very original. If anything, tonight I will put both CDs in my CD player and press shuffle.
Oh,
So
he's gonna put them up against each other.
he really is.
Yeah.
But for right now, he thought the most compelling argument came from Joey Cassata, our esteemed colleague, guest, etc., so forth, wrestling with Joey Licious, schnibitzfirm.com. But now,
and he does say Carnival.
I've always
is the weaker
loved you,
effort.
Bill. I've always loved you.
I love you, Bill.
all right, so now in an envelope, we have
It's a
producer Eddie
tiebreaker,
Focus.
because we should real quick. We'll do the tallies.
Yes,
So the fans and Chris are backing Carnival.
yes.
So that the fans is a big vote, very important vote. Lynch and Starkey.
Both
Elder.
go with Elder.
So I will say my.
But again, the fans voted before they heard my argument, so I would have to still
We'll do a
give
follow
them
up.
a half.
We,
a point.
we will
I
do a
can't give them
follow up.
No,
Joe,
absolutely,
just for you.
and I agree with that, Joey, because I mean, you gave really compelling arguments.
I'll agree.
tonight.
There were times where I thought Joey was going to sway me. And I'm arguing for Carnival, but
Up their game in the time frame of the release. You're looking at, like I said, 81, 82.
trust me, I love both records.
Bob Ezrin produced a fucking record. Bob
Oh,
Ezrin could make shit out of honey
Bob Ezrin
or
could
honey out of
produce.
shit.
Bob Ezrin could produce an album of farts and it would sell 1 million.
It was, and that's what he did with The Wall. You're talking in 1970. What was it? 79 when The Wall came out,
Give or take.
give or take.
Joey will know.
I think it was 79 or 80. Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
you're right.
So-
it was the album right. It was whatever. It was his last album right before The Elder.
So
Ed's going to the Google machine. We'll
And-
find out
and-
in a minute.
you're talking about a band who was so fractioned and disassociated with each other, where the drummer would just come in and do session drums because he was told you have to do a drum on Comfortably Numb. David Gilmour, here's your solo. Roger Waters, who took in complete control of that album because it was his vision, his brainchild, and would come up with the lyrics and do the singing, and give David Gilmour the scraps of what he wanted him to sing, i.e., Comfortably Numb,
Mm-hmm.
Another Brick in the Wall. Again, this is another episode here. I mean,
Right.
you could talk about the history of Pink Floyd for fucking hours, but at the end of Pink Floyd's studio career was so fractured and so fucking dysfunctional. I mean, and Bob Ezrin took it all together and made a fucking masterpiece out of shit and turned it into honey.
I hate to stop you, but Eddie is holding that envelope
I want Eddie to open that envelope
to
right
his head
now.
like Karnak the Great. He's
Okay.
got.
What is the envelope again? Explain to me one more time so I remember.
Go ahead, Eddie.
So here's the thing. I actually listened to 3 albums, like I said, because
Origi-
originally Loki wanted to get Unmasked in on this.
Yes.
So I listened to Unmasked, which I agree with you. It's a pop album. It's like I thought it was terrible. I didn't think. there
No,
anything
that
good
was
about it.
Dynasty.
Oh, Dynasty. Sorry, still pop album.
I'm
Yeah.
not a huge Kiss fan, but I'm used to the catchy tunes that you hear come on the radio
Right.
and they pump you up. I didn't get that from Unmasked. I was like, ugh. But neither Unmasked isn't in this. So I chose one of the albums before we start today, and I said I'm going to put it in a sealed envelope.
Mm-hmm.
And
You want me to
we'll
show
open
it to the people?
Yeah, show it.
So
well,
for
you
y-
can actually open it
For the YouTubers.
I put it in the
Hold
envelope
on,
so it could be the
I just gotta ask a
tiebreaker.
question. Before you open it,
Yes.
Okay.
is the opinion in the envelope the same as it was before we started our argument?
Yes.
Okay.
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 That's a
All
good
right.
question. That's
And
a very good
my
question.
opinion is written briefly on the envelope, and then I'll elaborate.
It's actually nothing written on the envelope. It's
Well,
actually
it's
inside
on
the
the
envelope.
paper. On the paper.
Okay, here we go.
It's Kanye's graduation.
Oh, fuck Kanye. Here we go.
Daft Punk. Woo, woo.
I'm opening it up, and it says Elder for sticking to themes. So basically, tonight,
And
ladies
I will-
and gentlemen, Joey Licious has beaten the Redneck Adonis in the shitty Kiss album debate.
I'll elaborate really quick because this is before
Please do.
this is before I heard knew that there was a movie involved or anything like that.
Yeah.
And it's so funny that Joey brought these points up. I was listening to it, and the first thing I thought of was like, it's not a Kiss I'm used to.
Mm-hmm.
And second thing I thought of is, this reminds me a little bit of Dungeons and Dragons. It reminds me a little bit of Jethro Tull.
Wow.
And then
Aqualung with
and
a
then-
theme.
And this will probably be a big boom moment. I thought of Michael Kamen.
Wow.
And I thought of when Queen did the music for Highlander, and then Michael came and did the orchestra where he would
Sure.
work with all these bands. That's what I thought of, and I'm just like, do you know what this album is missing? It's missing that Michael Kamen part of it.
Mm.
And now that I understand more about being a movie and everything like that, I feel like it's an unfinished project that I think they should consider finishing.
I'll go even further back and go to Moody Blues.
Mm.
Seventh
Yeah.
son of a seventh son.
Wasn't that Iron Maiden?
Oh no.
Yeah, that was Iron Maiden.
The Great Sojourn.
Oh, yes.
Aqualung
Mm-hmm.
for Jethro Tull.
Again,
Moody Blues
I
going
think,
to just going back in
I
the
think
Moody
that
Blues
that-
catalog. You can pick any one of those songs and make a movie out of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think music from the Elder, you could make a Broadway musical out of that.
Sure. Let's defer to Joey real quick. Joey, go ahead.
again, I think the concept wasn't finished because it doesn't matter what Kiss does in 1981. They're dead in the water, so it didn't matter. If this was 1978, The Elder might have been the greatest movie of all time. It might have been the new Star Wars for our generation. We'll never know. But at that 1981, they weren't going to produce a movie because it was going to fail no matter how good it was. So it never happened. That's why.
As much as I'd like
And
to
I agree with that.
As much as I'd like to flip the table and say fuck this game right now, I will. Wow,
There's a new horseshit button.
I'm gonna defer to Joey Cassata, and I'm gonna tip my cap and say,
Mine
Joey,
as well.
battle well done. You have won. I may have new respect for the Elder, although I love the record. I love all the Kiss records, but if I had to rank them, it's near the bottom. You really did good, kid, and I love you, and thank you so much for a battle well done.
It's great having me, guys. Listen, I'll talk Kiss any other two albums you want to go against. Just give me one of them. I'll fight for it. It doesn't matter what it is.
I may do that if we have some time. If you can ever be on a Tuesday, I know your schedule is crazy, but there are Kiss albums I'd love to put up against each other. Like
here's a great one. An argument I always have with people, and I won't tell you one way or another. A lot of people love the Paul Stanley album or the Ace Frehley solo album. Whichever. Some people like Paul is better. Some people like Ace is better. So That's always a huge argument, and I will argue Ace's corner any day if anyone.
Oh,
wants to take Paul.
absolutely. Now, if I were to ask you, solo albums, like not the Kiss solo albums from '78, Gene versus Paul. Gene did Asshole in 2004. Paul did Live to Win in 2006, 2007. You know, those are ones I'd argue for.
Firestarter.
Fuck Firestarter. I'd have to go with Paul. But
I don't want to fuck that.
let me ask you this. When members leave, you have Ace, you have Peter, you have Vinny, all who released albums. Even Mark St. John. Those would be debates I'd be willing to go for. Peter solos versus Ace solos versus...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, the Vinnie Vincent stuff, the first Invasion album, really... I don't want to say anything.
I gotta tell you, I love that first Invasion album. I don't like the second one. I think the first one is great.
Which is funny. I think the first one was awesome, but the second one was more melodic, which is more the music I get into. So we might have a debate there. There'll be no talk of Vinnie Vincent ever.
There'll be no talk of Vincent Invasion here.
But I think, to me, the greatest Kiss album after Kiss, the solo albums that anyone released was the first release Common album. I think it's just about flawless. I think it's great.
Amazing. The Frehley's Common album, Ace Frehley, Frehley's
Jesus
Common.
Christ, yeah. Unbelievable.
Rock Soldiers, calling on you, calling to you. Oh my God, so many great stuff. Still on my.
There isn't a track on that album that I would say anything negative about.
I would. Dolls. Dolls was a garbage track.
I love it.
I think
it's a great track.
I don't think there's any throwaway tracks.
Even
Plus, there are 11 tracks on that album.
I think so.
I don't think there's one throwaway.
My
opinion.
Mine is Dolls, only because I didn't get it. I love my dolls. I know they love me. I was like, what? What?
He's talking about his pussy posse.
Possibly. I'll buy it.
To me, that's what I get out of the song.
I'll buy it.
And again, based on time frame.
1987, I get it.
What are you dealing with?
All right.
Groupies. You're dealing with pussy. You're dealing with women who are just throwing themselves at you. These are my dolls.
Bang, bang.
And I do what I want with them.
Bang, bang.
Yeah, bang, bang. And you have to appreciate it for...
All right.
I look at music this way. No matter whether it's jazz, ragtime, rock and roll, whatever. You look at the time frame it was produced. You have to think. You have to put your mindset back into that time frame and say, "All right, they wrote these songs because of X, Y, Z," and you have to appreciate it because of that.
All right.
And you're talking '87, where like
everything was Pussy Jones.
Exactly. So there were.
Can we not call it Pussy Jones?
No, Jones has to
Pussy
be in
Jane.
It. All right.
Pussy Jamie. But anyway, I just. Throwing that out there is just like, what the fuck?
All right, I need Joey to do something real quick, just for one special listener. Joey, if you could say something nice to Jim Lallemere in Danielson, Connecticut, who is a big ZO2 fan. We've talked about him before. Can you give him a real quick shout out in your best rock and roll voice?
I don't know about a rock and roll voice, but I'll do a wrestling voice. Woo! Jim, how's it going, man? Thanks so much for being a ZO2 fan. I'm curious to see where your vote went tonight. Was it with me or with Chris? Obviously it was with me. I mean, I buried Chris. We all know that. I love you, Jim.
Thanks.
All right, then. Ladies and gentlemen, his name is Joey Cassata. Go buy the book, LokiandJabroni.com/Amazon. Buy Start With a Dream. I am dropping that book off to Jim next Tuesday night before we record. I just stopped by his house a little earlier. He was so excited to listen to this, and he loves ZO2. He's the one I told you about this when I first interviewed you, when I was going through my divorce. We would watch Z-Rock together. So big shout out to Jim. He's also the cheese and beer guru of our area.
He is.
So
he is, certainly is. And Jim was my best man in my wedding.
Oh, well, sorry I wasn't there.
Oh, amazing.
Asshole. I didn't know you then. Sorry. Anyway.
Guys, just remember, everyone out there, I won this debate without having any visual aids, okay? Chris obviously is
I had
sons of
notes.
teeth
I
for
didn't
not
have
having
visual
me on
aids.
visually. And listen, he knew if I could talk with my hands like an Italian cough, I would have killed him. So
I can hear your
would've been
hands
very
flapping in
easy.
the background, Joey. Don't fucking kid me. I can hear them.
Next,
I have an Italian.
next time we do visual.
I have
You
an
bet.
Italian German wife. I can hear your fucking hands slapping.
You bet. Next time you're on the show, it's going to be Skype, and we're going to have you
And that
right
would be
there on the
awesome.
live feed.
That would be awesome.
Go back to creating music. I know that's what you were doing. That's why you wanted to try to push it back 8 times. But hey, whatever works.
And I just
Sorry,
wa-
sorry guys.
I just
Thank
want
you.
I just want to say I appreciate you dedicating an hour and 7 minutes of your time to do this debate, and it's been
Thank
awesome.
you guys. It was great. A lot of fun.
No, I mean I'm a guest host, and I've been doing it for 12 weeks.
Yeah, 12 weeks.
13 weeks on and off in Loki's absence, and it's been a really good time, and I really want to thank you for doing this.
Thanks for having me, guys. Anytime, like I said, we'll do another album next time.
Awesome.
Before you leave, check out Wrestling with Joey Licious on YouTube, and we'll have Joey on to talk about wrestling because we haven't done that before. We had
Which
Barry
would be
Horowitz last
awesome.
week, and Barry Horowitz is going to do the SummerSlam review.
Which I want
the
to say was
Tuesday
an
after.
amazing episode, by
Yes.
the way, guys.
We're going to have, I'm hoping, Joey, one of the big pay-per-views, to have you on to review what you saw that Sunday night.
Well, maybe I'll come on live. I'm doing the Chris Jericho cruise next year, so maybe I'll come if they have service. I'll try to
Ooh.
broadcast live from the cruise for you guys.
Fair enough. That'd
That'd
be
be
awesome.
awesome.
And tell Chris Jericho we're big fans. I'm Y2J as long as the day is.
I will.
All right, guys. His name is Joey Cassata. He's working musician, author, whatever, and he's
Please read his book.
donated
It's
his time
amazing.
to us.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, later, bro.
Good night, Joey.
Good night, Joey.
Wow, what a great guy. I love that guy. Text messages every time Joe and I get together and talk. It's always, always, always fantastic.
He's Mr. Positive Jones.
He is. He
That's what I
really
gotta
is.
say. I
Great
mean,
use of Jones, by the way.
He just a guy that if he knows where he came from. He doesn't look he isn't on a pedestal looking down on you.
No.
He's worked hard. He's paid his dues, and he's done his work.
Much
and I
like-
appreciate him for what he's done.
I was thinking about this on the drive up here. Every musician we've had on the show, whether it be Charlie Benante, Britt Lightning, Lizzie Borden, now we have Joey Cassata, Nathan Hunt, all down to earth, all great human beings.
and
Just fantastic.
I'll say that most musicians, especially because of at their level, they're not like huge breakout musicians.
Mm-hmm.
They are at a level where they're known on the New England down to the Delaware Valley scene, smaller places. They seem to just fucking appreciate every ounce.
But when you have Anthrax, but when you have Shaman's Harvest, who are known nationwide,
they're the exception to the rule.
okay,
To me, Charlie Benante, he's a guy.
been
Just
everywhere.
He's just a dude. He's a dude who's been everywhere.
Mhm.
He appreciates the hard work that he's put into it, and where it elevated him to.
Yes.
He's not a dick.
No.
He's not a large.
I go back
He's
to
not a Michael Stipe.
okay.
You know?
Wow.
Yeah, put head bigger than the door.
You know, I go back to the Anthrax reunion tour. I want to say it was 2004, 2005. The classic Anthrax.
and I
lineup.
didn't we go to that tour together?
You, me, and Jim.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Jim
Yeah.
Latimer one more time.
We went to that tour.
Yep. And there was we had the meet and greet and whatever. And
Yep.
Jim he was working for Offshore Brewing Company.
Yep.
He,
And he
brought
brought
a case of beer.
Case of beer
And Jim and I, were we? No, we weren't. We weren't roommates then. That was before my marriage and
that
divorce.
was well before
Yeah.
that.
And he calls me and goes, dude, I just got a voicemail from Charlie Benante. Hey, it's Charlie Benante. I play from a band called Anthrax. I drank your beer. I found your business card. It was great, yada, yada.
And I got a phone call that night.
Yeah,
And
so did I.
He played me that voicemail
Oh, my God.
on speakerphone.
Right.
And said, dude, holy fucking shit. And it just goes to show that like 90% of life is making connections.
Yes.
And building bridges and making friendships.
There's a reason why I can watch Stomping Grounds last week and text Joey, and Joey texts back. Or when we're talking Kiss, or when we're talking, whatever. Joey's there. Joey's real. Same with Lizzie Borden. His birthday just went by. Happy birthday, Lizzie.
Happy birthday, Lizzie.
And I sent him a very nice text message, and he chimed back, hey, great, thanks. I'm coming to your area in September. Do you still want to do the on-site interview? Fuck yeah, I do.
Hell yeah, why not?
So the people we've met and the people we've talked to, going back to, say, Barry Horowitz, Bob Backlund, Mike Riccardi, Jim Lawrence, I still, every now and again, I text Jim Lawrence during a Yankee game, can you believe this garbage? He's like, oh, well, if they do this, and everything he says is right. So, I defer to Jim Lawrence. So
I just got to say that.
This isn't an ego thing. This is just connecting
You guys
with
have made
people.
really good connections and really good You've built good bridges and good relationships through this podcast. And I think that above anything else, whether we elevate our subscription from 1,000 to 5,000,
18,000, a million.
a million makes a big difference. That we've made that connection, that we reach out to people, that we're relatable to the everyday man.
Absolutely.
So on that note, where are we going from here?
Where are we going from here? Well, tomorrow night on a special Tuesday night edition of the C&J Speedway Review, we will go over everything that happened at Chicagoland Speedway, from big rainstorms that kept the Cup race from running on time to the problems that Kevin Harvick have. This is the season of fuck Chris, by the way. I can't say that on that show, but I can say it on this show. This is the season of fuck Chris. That's me. You're
Not me.
Chris, not you.
Not this Chris, but this
Right.
Chris.
But we'll talk.
I'm looking forward to seeing if you can pull it off. Doing that show without curse.
Oh my God, it's going to be so
Better
hard.
put a swear jar next to you.
You might want to.
Yeah.
A quarter every time I drop a cuss word.
So also in the pipeline, I know
Yes.
you and I want to look at the
Music episode,
music
yes.
episodes.
We'll be talking about that. You and Eddie can talk about that when we go off.
We're gonna So like I told you in my text the other day.
Yes.
I originally wasn't gonna come here tonight because
What were you gonna say?
because
He's what?
Eddie sucks.
Okay.
No.
I'm glad you were here. Joey Cassata is fucking fantastic.
He is
I'm glad you got a chance.
I've heard him on the show before, and I think he's an amazing guest.
Mhm.
But the schedule I have right now is the schedule I want to keep, and I'm going to let my bosses know that.
Okay.
Tuesday nights might be out of the order, but if I can squeeze in Monday nights for my journey
with
music musician,
And you and I have a lot of
and we have a lot of common ground in our music
Right.
background. So I want you guys to look forward to us, not necessarily soon, but in the future.
when we get everything squared away.
Yes, when
my journey with music will come back.
and I want to say I appreciate you guys being patient with that, as well as Chris does, I'm sure, because I watch the episode he
Mhm.
did. I think it's a great concept.
I think the three that we put out were fantastic.
I think so too. I've watched all three of them, and I think that I think it's an idea that should be pushed forward.
You're right.
And we can make that a tight podcast.
Yes.
Whereas versus this one is very
It's all over the
place.
map.
We have what pisses me off, what's
Mhm.
current events, what's this, what's that. I think my journey in music, we come in with an idea or two ideas,
And we just play
And we
music.
but we just go fucking barrel through it, make it enjoyable, and leave it up for debate after the fact, and we can address it the next week.
Amen.
So
Now,
on that note,
going back, there's going to be some discussion tomorrow night on the C&J Speed Review. If you're a YouTuber, if you're not, and you're listening this to all let me check my tongue back from customs. if you're listening audio only and you're a fan of the C&J Speed Review, we had another DQ based on post-race inspection on the Xfinity race. Christopher Bell loses his third place finish. He gets shuffled back to the back of the pack, which may or may not change the pick set if you're a fan. However, going back, listen to C&J Speed Review. If you know somebody who likes NASCAR, point him in that direction. My Journey with Music will have life again as soon as Chris and Eddie sit down and maybe talk amongst themselves. But Eddie, real quick, I want some input out of you. You listen to the albums. You had your thing. You said Elder wins because of the theme. What did you think overall, just for my own ego? Just for my own edification. Yeah, exactly. The fans spoke and they said Carnival. What did you think of Carnival?
I thought it was grunge crap.
Okay, fair.
It just wasn't Kiss at all. I mean, I'm a little harsher than you guys are because I'm not like the big Kiss guy, but like it. I think I said it earlier. It sounded like an album nobody wanted to make.
Okay,
except Gene.
Well, and
I'll buy that.
Like I said, it was like they were trying to compete against what was out there at the time. Nirvana, Pearl Jam,
I was saying
just
before, you saw it before. Okay, so
yeah.
I'll use MC Hammer as an example. So you had Hammer come out.
Pumps and a bump.
He's you can't touch us,
Exactly.
whatever.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
tries to reinvent himself with the funky headhunter. Is
Right.
And it's like, come on, dude. You know, nobody likes it when artists sell out.
Okay, but and I'm not trying to sway your opinion, but
Yeah.
Master and Slave, catchy tune. Jungle, single of the year that year.
They were.
They
That's
they
the
were.
thing. I just didn't.
But
think
again, they
were
were the two A's I gave, and if I can listen to Master and Slave all day long. I listen to Jungle all day long.
Let's just talk the music for a second. The music did not fit Paul's style.
No,
and I will agree
but
that
he made it a point to fit that style.
I don't think Gene's a great singer at all.
those
So
No.
but I will say those two songs, if I had to pick my two favorites, are those two.
Okay,
I'm not going to deny you that because, again, but like Eddie said, it was grunge for grunge sake,
yeah,
and
I hated that whole era. Like that there was because of that whole era. I did not like music.
Well, there's a whole period of
I
time.
tuned out.
There was a whole period of time from like '93 to like '99, 2000. I just
Yep.
I went back to my standards.
so
Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin.
right.
You know,
Even
He
the
likes
Pink
Zeppelin.
Floyd album
Oh.
that came out, The Division Bell, was fantastic at that record. By the way, Joey just texted and said, "Good time, guys. Thank you so much."
Thank you,
Fine.
Joey.
The music episodes are always fun. I don't know. Just like I said, the first thing I listened to was Unmasked, which was
Oh my God, Hot
Pop
Garbage
album.
Jones.
It is hot garbage.
terrible. It's a straight up pop album.
Yeah.
and not even a good one.
Rich dudes trying to just be what rich dudes are.
Well, and not even rich dudes. Gene Simmons trying to brand himself.
that was more a Paul album. If you listen to Unmasked, that was more
True,
a Paul
but I
album.
will say, based upon that album, though, after they went unmasked and did the whole reveal on
MTV, Lick It Up.
Lick It Up, the whole nine. Fuck, you can buy a Kiss coffin.
I know.
www.genesimmons.com.
I know we really got to wrap this
All
up.
right, let's
guys,
wrap
but,
this up. Eddie, what do you got to pimp?
Everything else, Speedway and
Speedway.
you know what?
Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Loki and Jabroni. Donate to the show, please. Everything that keeps us going is what you give to us.
And if better than listening to your favorite artist on CD is going to the concerts, and you can buy the tickets
Yes.
through LokiandJabroni.com.
And buy some swag from us, and also go to
CafePress.com/Loki and Jabroni.
also go to YouTube, like our page.
Yeah,
Yes.
Follow
we're
us.
2 subscribers away from 100.
Oh, wow.
Let's go.
So
Come on.
Next week, Loki comes back. We're not
So
sure.
I'll start up 2 new subscriptions tonight.
Yes, we don't know. We don't know what's going to be next week because it's Loki's choice because he couldn't be here tonight. Thank you so much to Joey Cassata. Thank you so much to everybody who voted. Thank you, all of you who voted against me. Thank you, fuck you, bye. I hate you. I hate all of you.
And thank you to
And here comes the fucking Nickelback music. Jesus
Thank you to
Christ.
the guy to my left who had invited me, and at the last minute,
Always.
I bit the bullet and said, "Fuck it, I'm going to come up here and do this because this is up my alley." And I want to
Always.
thank Eddie Focus for being the man in the box, and as always,
Oh, of course he gets a
yeah,
standing
he gets his
O.
own standing O. And
All right,
wanna
I
thank
gotta
you
pee.
guys.
Let's close it out.
Love you guys. Bye.
Peace.
I gotta fucking go.
I love the outro music.
Yeah.
I'll help you clean this up. I just gotta pee and then yeah, we'll do. Hold on, I got you.